Star Shatter, the exciting first book in the swashbuckling space opera series. Link in the description. Greetings, salutations, and other big words. My name's Ethan. My handle is Wrangler. Welcome to Frequency Studios, weekly Wing It number 77 here on Rumble and YouTube. Starting it off this week, we got Billy Bobsack. Billy, what's going on?
Plow.
Go plow. And then we got Frederick Guimon.
Bonsoir.
Hey, I don't speak Spanish. And we have Raven Nevermore.
Hey.
It's just badly pronounced English, apparently.
Yes.
I thought that's what I was speaking. In the chat, Raven kind of beat us all to it tonight. He's in two places at once. And we got Star Fury saying ahoy. And also, Captain Garrett from Swords and Starship. Welcome. He says, tip of the hat to Star Fury. And hail the fellowship. So what have you guys been up to tonight?
I was just cleaning up the vomit from my cat who just threw up on my art pad, so
So fun.
there's that.
I
Other than
watched
that,
the Summer
drawing.
Shit Fest, the Xbox Shit Game Showcase.
Oh, I heard something about that, but that's about all that I have not really heard anything about it.
So were there any fun games being shown there at all? Anything that looked interesting?
Well, I mean, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, I'm fucking hyped for him to get. Got the release date for that. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I'm fucking excited for. I still gotta finish the first game. That one got a trailer, and I think it's coming out sometime end of this year. I don't know. A lot of the quote unquote trailers there don't even have release dates for fucking this year. We're halfway through it.
Wow.
I should know somewhat when it comes out this year. I'm trying to think if there was any indie games that looked interesting.
Well, Star Fury's been watching Godzilla. I sound a little different in the headphones tonight. Am I sounding normal?
yeah, sound good to me.
Okay. Yeah, looks like Star Fury is watching Godzilla, and he says, "Yeah, the movie is so dense and the plotting amazing. Gets better with each rewatch." So that's high praise from Star Fury.
So the funniest thing yesterday on the Xbox showcase, they showed Dragon Age 4, which is now, instead of it being called Dreadwolf, it's called Veilguard. And everyone clowned on it, which was hilarious. And now people today are coping and seething and saying, guys, it's going to be great. It's not going to be bad. You know, it's only been in pre-development since 2013. It's lost most of the original staff of BioWare, of course, and a lot of heads. Wow. Oh, and the game has at least once been restarted. Oh, and this year it changed its title. But no, guys, it's going to be fine. It's going to be a great game.
Captain Garrett says Dreadwolf was a better title.
Yeah, but it's too scary, which may be why they changed it. You can't have anything scary these days.
I think the gameplay is supposed to be shown.
Well,
Dude,
of course you can. Have you not seen the ladies and they've been putting into gaming lately?
Perfect Dark looked great, but the chick looks like a man now. She looks very more mannish than she did before.
It's become the video game industry standard, apparently.
But the gameplay actually showed in the thing looks interesting. It reminds me of Deus Ex, kind of with like a little Hitman. Looks fun. What else was there? Avowed. I liked how the environments look, but the fucking character models are so cartoonishly look bad. I think we got some more gameplay on that today.
They should do like a Mass Effect, the Dragon Age, or Dragon Age, the Mass Effect.
Dragon Age isn't going down the shitter. It is the shitter now. Like,
I could
That's
just
one
laugh
really
at the joke,
full-
but I don't really know because I haven't played any of these games. I'm still stuck in arcade land, apparently.
have you not seen it, Storgen? Garrett, the fucking trailer. Oh my god, we're playing it. I'm gonna have to have the volume off because I think it's got copyrighted music. But we're playing this right now because it's bad. The companions look so retarded.
Doesn't surprise me.
Oh, that's a good idea. He hasn't seen. Yeah, do a reaction video. That'd be cool.
Yeah, well, we're also all gonna fucking witness this piece of shit.
Do I really have to witness garbage this late at night?
Or are you
Yes.
pulling it up, Billy Bob?
Yes,
I don't want bad thoughts in my brain when I try to sleep.
we're fucking watching this. I can't
want
wait
'em.
until the game releases in fall. Holy shit! I know it's gonna be a turd. If it isn't a turd, I'm gonna be genuinely fucking shocked. And then I'm gonna go to the lottery. Yeah.
What game is that?
What, Dragon Age 4?
Oh. Well, there isn't a single good Dragon Age game, so why would a fourth one fucking surprise
Nah,
you?
Dragon Age Origins good. Position's alright.
Don't give him ideas about Mass Effect X Dragon Age.
I liked
They
the
would
first
try
one, but I didn't get very far in it.
I honestly don't like the playstyle. Like I tried a couple of them. I'm like, I just wish it was Skyrim, frankly.
This'll take more than you and me.
Hardening.
We need someone to be our eyes and ears in the shadows.
It looks like a McDonald's commercial as your companion list, I guess.
What a description.
Look how
The
stupid it is.
Lucanners. The Deer
gotta move
Hopper. The Veil Jumper, fuck!
I was worried my characters are going to be boring.
Oh,
Can somebody
yeah,
explain to
the
me
game.
what
By
a
the way-
veil jumper is?
Well,
I
she
could
jumps
guess.
through the veil. So, he's 100%
doesn't
a
give me
fag,
much.
by the way. This character's 100% fag.
Introducing for the first time a homosexual mage in Dragon Age.
Yeah, it's like they didn't do it in Inquisition with a way better character.
How come every time they introduce one of them, it's always the first again and again?
Hey guys, I'm a Garrett Mad. Diversity.
Oh, no.
They must have watched the Rings of Power.
The
Rings of power.
The Rangs. The Rangs.
Rangs. It's all about the one many rangs.
Holy fat! I was joking. That guy looked like Thorin Oakenshield, though. Not gonna lie.
By the way,
Those McDonald's
this is not a
glasses.
Canary. That is not a Canary.
What the
What
fuck
the-
is that?
Christ.
That's his head?
Well, what is it?
I thought that was his hair.
They made
Good
him
thing
gay.
Otter's not here. He'd be excited.
Yeah, they put an otter in it, you know. Well, I can't say they made it gay. It was already gay, you know.
I thought they were
It-
horns.
It's not a glitch.
It's not.
It's a feature.
I'm just ready for this. I'm ready for this.
The
thing.
crew needs a leader. Someone
keep
we
in
can
mind-
count on.
Keep in mind, this game was supposed to come out in 2022.
Oh, so they took this much longer for this?
Yes.
It might have worked in 2022. We had nothing to do.
You
But
guys remember when video game trailers made us excited for games? Yeah, me too.
A long, long time ago.
Together.
Together with your
Wow.
friends, defy the gods.
I understand that all modern games are going to have like diversity, like for the sake of it, but they're really letting us know in this trailer. It's like, don't worry, every box, every single one.
And by the way, this Arch Dragon looks like shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. That design looks duty.
It's like, fear not, we will not let a second go by where you don't feel like you're being preached at.
Is that really a dragon? Because it looks more like a wyvern.
The
Well,
Veil Guard.
It's supposed to be an
Ooh.
Arch Dragon, which is
But
He's
it
a
only
big
has the
black
back
one.
legs. It doesn't have the forelegs.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is a wyvern.
no, it does. Back
Where?
right there, back right there, right there, right there.
Oh, they're just tiny.
It's just
They're just
scared.
tiny,
So-
Billy.
They're connected below the wings.
Yes.
Usually
right
you
here.
have front legs and then
Extra
wings and then back legs.
Yeah, he does have back legs. It's right behind there, but it's behind a castle. It's still there's legs. Just
Yep,
can't
and
really see
no,
it.
it looks
He
looks
has
like
no penis like Griffith.
it looks like his wings come out of his shoulders, the same shoulder joints that the front legs come out of. It's a bad design. That's all there is to
Yeah.
it.
But to be fair, I mean it is kind of hard to even see his like body.
His head looks like a horny Indominus Rex.
'Cause his legs are coming from here, but it's so obscure. Can't really tell.
The jaw seems to be angled all the way to the back of the head. It's very strange.
Yeah, it should be more like a snake, right? Where it's hinged, or not hinged. Whatever, where it expands.
Just a slickery little snag.
Anyways, I'm ready for this to come out this year. I want to see how bad it's actually going to be, and I think it's going to be horrible.
Well, every time I've asked myself that question, Billy, it's been worse. Like when I was
By the
hanging
way-
out, when I was hanging out with Maji,
shouldn't laugh at
we
that, that's
we watched 5 whole minutes of the movie Elemental, or Elements, whatever that Disney Pixar monstrosity was. What a freaking turd! It was actually a pretty looking movie. They could have made, if they had a good story or characters, they could have been fine.
I'm
but-
surprised you were able to pay attention. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah,
So it's
Billy.
kind of like Other M. It's a gorgeous looking game, but they dropped the ball on the delivery.
yeah. Like
Well,
here's the thing.
it's worse than that.
This isn't the BioWare that we know. This is the BioWare that released Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem.
A buddy of mine, his brother works for not BioWare, but Blizzard, and just talks about the modern gaming. Hey, I made him mad enough to
Ahoy.
join. Welcome, Captain Garrett.
Give this a try.
Oh,
This might
and the
be-
game is,
Okay.
by the way, Garrett. You would think from this trailer that Solaris is
the volume or somewhere.
no longer the main villain, but he still is. It's just for some reason the trailer focuses on him at no point. It's not
So
even
I
him.
make one little comment about all the Dragon Eggs games being bad, and then Captain Garrett's like, all right.
I am here.
You
Uh,
did throw down the gauntlet, I feel.
Yeah.
Star Fury brings up an interesting point. He says he wants to see Chinese dragons in games for a change.
Maybe.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't be
I may
able to
have
drive.
overreacted, Kahuna.
Unfortunately, Mushu
Oh,
kind
Miriam's
of made
here.
a point. They look like
Yeah.
snakes.
I'm saying if it's a
Snakes.
female Chinese dragon, it won't be
But
able to.
they share much in common with the sky serpents of the of South America and Central
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
There was a game I'm pretty sure that had a Chinese style dragon.
No, there have been. They're just not as common.
Yeah,
But
And-
then again, Dragon Age is more of Western like fantasy, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't really make any sense.
My
Or to
fantasy.
have-
A Chinese dragon who also can drive. I'm here for it.
By the way,
Oh.
Maji, thanks for helping me with my title.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You like
I always
it?
loved that bit by Carlos Mencia, by the
Yeah.
way,
Oh yeah.
where he goes off about how Asian folks could very well be the smartest demographic on the planet, and they do this right, they do this right, and he's like, "What happens to you when you get behind the wheel of a car?"
Oh.
Like
Garrett's
all the years of academy training wasted.
yeah, I like Inquisition. I like it, even though it has like
Inquisition. I also like Inquisition.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, yeah. Are you sure?
Inquisition.
Inquisition. Yeah, but you said Inquisition. Inquisition.
I also have an accent, you stupid.
Looks
I
like
know, and
You
I
know
will.
what? Hold up.
I will
Take this-
relentlessly make fun of you for it. I have no.
Hold up.
I have
hold
no
up, hold up.
problems here.
Oh, here's Christian's order.
Hello? You order Chinese food? Oh, we got our food here. It's cold outside. Oh, you fat fuck. You got egg roll. You got dumplings, spare ribs. You got everything. Everything.
Everything.
Wait,
How
Ranger,
dare-
did
how
you have a
dare
new
you.
clip for us?
Yeah, this made me think of a clip. I'd have to upload it because I'm not in. not admin on this channel.
I feel bad for Garrett. He's had some stream difficulties recently between his
Yeah.
other thing and.
Well, you
Yeah,
know,
the equipment would not cooperate on Sunday. Myriasphere knows what that's like. We tried to do a stream together about a year ago. My equipment was all messed up. My Wi-Fi was going funky. He was struggling with his, and
wow,
it
right
just,
when your Wi-Fi starts fucking up and lagging.
But yeah, as soon as you mention it, you're like, the Wi-Fi's like, you know what? I will.
Be screwy. I will be screwy. And it's all
Did-
your fault.
Hey,
did I just go full max headroom?
Do you need a prescription for those little blue internet pills? You know, them streaming ones to get it going. You know.
Yep, he remembers.
My internet has no problem rising to the occasion.
Mine does.
Have you tried the little blue network?
Hurry up. You need to hurry up because I'm a Dragon Age fan and I need someone to rant with this shit with.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna play that ugly game? No.
That one's playing it. That's gonna be the funny part.
We could. Is it gonna be? Do you anticipate it being as glitchy
Yeah.
on release as some of the other ones
Hey,
have
Evelyn.
been?
Yes.
Yo, what's up, Evelyn?
I got a feeling it's gonna be like Inquisition, or no, maybe Dragon Age 2 level of fucking glitchiness. I think the development of this game has been nightmarishly bad.
I think also in the industry, a lot of the impassioned creators who actually have talent have kind of been burned out by this
They're all-
shitty industry over the last 10 or so years.
Well, they're all gone too from BioWare. Like this isn't the BioWare we knew. This is
a long ways away from that.
This
yeah.
isn't even the BioWare that was making Mass Effect 2 and Dragon Age and Mass Effect 3. It's not even those ones. Worse.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so we got Evelyn for a few minutes at least.
Yeah, he's been that was our movie that won the poll, Kung Fu Hustle. I was really hoping that we could watch a good movie this time.
Kung Fu Hustle's hilarious. What are you
It's
talking
hilarious, but
So
it's-
anything from the original run of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, I do got a good game. I forgot to mention it, and I'm just kind of embarrassed that I did.
BioWare.
There was one other game that got revealed, and I'm fucking looking forward to it. Doom: The Dark Age.
I heard about that. I thought, but I don't like follow gaming news. So I always get tricked by like all the fake games that people announce. I'm like, nah, I'll just wait till someone else brings it
Dude,
up.
I
What
didn't
is it?
because I was watching it live. I did not expect a fucking Doom game. I mean, granted, it's been 4 years because it came out in 2020. Doom Eternal.
And the last one didn't do too hot. You gotta remember that.
Yeah, it did.
Mm,
It sold pretty well.
Actually,
Very
it
well.
did fine.
It did do fine. I don't know where you're coming up with this. It didn't do good.
No, they're fun, Star Fury, but it's just, yeah, I wasn't. I think I just wasn't in the mood. I'm like, I like dumb comedy, but I wasn't ready for it. Ooh, finally, I like the name Dark Ages.
So it's a prequel. So you know, remember in Doom 2016 when you had like the first ages and shit? That's when this one's taking place.
Before he became a hero, he was the super weapon of gods and kings.
Hold up, let me turn off.
Hold on, what are you playing Chuck Norris here?
He was Brie Larson.
That'd be funny if that was
The
in
first,
game.
the first Doom character of all time.
I thought that was Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh
Yes,
shit!
it is,
Yeah. My
They,
mistake.
the two of them can fight over the title.
Actually, she was the demon in the first one.
I believe
But actually,
that.
he's going to be Captain America in this game.
Hail Hydra.
You shall not speak as such blasphemy.
Myriasphere's hoping for a little more melee.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm pumped, dude.
I am.
Okay,
It's
this
software.
Is that a shotgun or
like-
something?
You know what that was, right?
Like, here's
Shut
the thing. This game
Laser.
fucking buying it straight up.
dude, yeah.
Shotgun and shield?
I can't wait for Razorfist to play it and then say it's a bad game because he's bad at first-person shooters.
Oh, yeah, his Doom Eternal one was really bad.
He
I
doesn't
remember watching-
understand how to play first-person shooters. It's pretty.
Well, he
You know,
doesn't
I'm with
understand-
him. That's why I don't play Call of Duty or Halo or any of that, because I can't handle that twin stick shit. I suck at it.
Oh,
Same.
here's the thing too. He also doesn't understand what Doom Eternal was trying to fucking like want you to play.
He
It
doesn't.
wants you to
He didn't hate it. He
constantly
just
switch
wasn't any
weapons.
good at it.
I know, but he was also complaining about the lack of ammo, and that's the point. It's
It
supposed to
wanted
make
you to beat the
constantly
shit out of
switch
them in
weapons.
person.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I'm curious, Fear, you're looking for a good swords and sorcery in this style, right?
By the way, I hope that there's a skin on like day one that's called Doom America instead of Captain America. It's just flags on a shield and everything.
I would like it if it had like an orange hair, like a blonde hairpiece on top. We will make Mars great again.
Does he just have a boomstick? Is that all he has?
Bro, Mix!
No, he has. I mean, it's just a trailer. We're gonna find out exactly how much weaponry. I don't expect him to have as much as the other games because I think the shield's gonna be a major component in gameplay.
It looks like it. You can throw it like Captain America.
Like I feel like it's gonna.
Bro. That
Yeah, I
that
feel like
flying
it's-
portion could be really shit. Not all games pull that
could be.
off.
The most versatile metal on the planet, and they used it to make a frisbee.
Yeah. Bro, mouth to mouth.
Yeah,
He's
I
doing
think,
some Ridley type stuff right there.
I'm wondering
They're messing up this demon in the sky. It looks over. Spit in my mouth.
I am wondering when exactly it's coming out. I would expect early 2025, just like
I
Doom
hope
Eternal.
so. We need something to look forward to.
Captain Garrett, how do you feel
Ahoy.
about
The Doom games.
The what?
Doom games.
Hey, Dune. I haven't heard hardly anything about it. Let me know if my sound is working. I'm trying this on Chrome because
Was he saying Dune or is he trying to
Doom.
say Doom?
Doom.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not really that into Doom.
You disgust me now.
I played the game a long time ago, back when dude, that was very.
The last time I played it was on the PC in the 90s.
So Garrett, thoughts of the new Dragon Age that's finally going to come out?
I think it's gonna be terrible. I just, you know, what's weird?
Behold the McDonald's commercial in the form of Dragon Age.
The problem with the modern environment we live in is that when Mass Effect came out and when Dragon Age came out, there was no statements about diversity or any of that stuff. They already had storylines in it. They had like you as female Shepard, you could romance Liara, and it was just part of it, right? And then you had Dragon Age 1. There are 2 characters in that are bisexual. Right? They just are. And just if your character romances them, you can. But it's not mentioned, right? There was diversity in those games already because that's the world. It's a fantasy world. It's a science fiction world.
Garrett.
And the problem is now they feel like they have to do it. They have to talk about it. So now
Garrett.
it's an agenda.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, like old school BioWare was like, I don't know, classical liberal back then.
Oh
That's
yeah.
how their
yeah.
games are written.
Well, they are. They're actually, I honestly think they're kind of center right, honestly, because Mass Effect it's a very classic military science fiction story, and it definitely is modeled on Western civilization values. The original Mass Effect game is, and I definitely think that there's a lot of balance in it because there's elements of the game that tilt left and there's elements that tilt right. I've always felt it seemed very fair. Like, for example, you have Ashley, who is kind of famously a racist, an anti-alien racist in the game. But
It's not
even
racist.
even in the game, she's still portrayed as, she's humanized, and there are nuances to why she feels the way she feels. She has a family history.
Yeah, no, and she's not always hateful either. She's like, you know what? I don't hate them. I just don't want to live in the same neighborhood as them. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't want them using the
Keep
same
in
word.
mind with Ashley. Keep in mind with Ashley and the humans in Mass Effect 1. It's been, 30 years since the Turian War. when they first contact, you know, in which they slugged it out, and there's still some animosity.
There's a little bit of
between
a racism.
Well, my point is just that it was just about the world and the characters. There was no agenda. There's no politics. I mean, there are political,
But it's in world.
themes.
It's in context. It's not outside coming in. It's inside going out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you as the character, as Shepard, you have the choice of whether you agree or disagree with things that you're presented in the game, and they give you a wide range of options. And
Yeah, that's why I always knock out the fucking reporter in Mass Effect 3.
yeah, I always like to renegade, intimidator. But I think one of the most Orwellian concepts in Mass Effect is the Spectres. Like, the Spectre, it's very fun to play as a Spectre. It's a very cool concept, but sort of like Superman, I'm glad that doesn't really exist, because think of how horrifying that would be if Spectres were real. Basically,
So give a breakdown to the Spectres of what they are,
yeah,
and what they can do.
Now, the reason for why they exist in world is brilliant, and it makes a lot of sense, because the galaxy is filled with thousands of planets of different species and trillions of lives, and you can't go to war every time there's a dispute. So the Council, which represents the sort of... They're kind of like a United Nations, but of different alien species coming together.
Well, hold up, Garrett.
So like
Keep in
a
mind-
Am I going
covenant.
too deep here?
A covenant.
Well, no.
of sorts.
Only 3 of the races are council races.
Yeah,
Everyone
look,
else.
I gotta summarize this thing, or we'll
Has
be here all night, okay?
representation.
You're right, but I can't go into that much detail, or we'll be here all night. So the
Billy
basic
Bob come in
concept
here
is...
with an
Actually,
Well, I love Mass
that's not
Effect, so I love
exactly
hearing
right,
them
you
talking
know.
about it.
Accolade. So the idea is this: the council has to have a political tool that is a stick, but is a very quiet stick that can resolve things without a lot of problems and will not provoke all-out war. And that answer is the Spectres, which is something like estimated around 100 agents in the whole galaxy. You can't apply to be one. It's sort of like, basically, they look for you, and you have to be someone who's already proven yourself as being a highly skilled individual. And you can have almost any skill set, but as long as you're someone who is able to get the impossible done, they will find you, and they'll bring you into the Spectres. And the idea is a Spectre answers only to the Council. So any
he's judged
species-
during executioner, basically.
Yeah, so he can nuke a planet if it was he can say, well,
Not
well,
exactly.
this.
I think the
Wow.
basic political idea is that the council, which represent roughly equivalent to like the United States president, right, might be the equivalent political power of the council. It would be like an agent that only answers to the president and is authorized to basically break any law that they want. They can't, if they go outside the country, they're on their own. They're sort of like they'll be disavowed if they're killed or captured or whatever. But within the framework of U.S. law, they could essentially do whatever they wanted, unless the president, or I think in this case the legislature, stopped them or said you can't do that. Now, the reason for this is because in a galaxy with thousands of worlds and lives and all kinds of shit going down, it wouldn't even make sense to have a military so big that it could handle all that. So the Spectres are just like given orders, a general standing order. If you see a problem, go fix it. And if you step in shit, then the council's going to be on your ass about it, because the idea is to not give them headaches. The idea is to resolve things without headaches. So if you are a member of the council, you have agreed to this arrangement, which means that Spectres can effectively do almost anything.
So you're like a free agent given diplomatic immunity in some sense.
Essentially, yes. But that doesn't mean... Now, on paper, yes. Practically, they don't really have quite that much super authority, because if they piss off like a whole nation or something...
So if he parks his spaceship like in the wrong spot, they're going to give him like 9 tickets and he'll still have to pay him. What a load.
Yeah. But Saren, who is the antagonist in Mass Effect 1, is a Spectre that was so... He had accumulated so much power that he was able to secretly assemble an army. He had bunkers and bases on planets. He had private research labs. He had billions of dollars of credits, and the council didn't care until it was proven that he was a traitor. But up until then, he was free to operate however he pleased, which is like that's a scary idea.
Yeah, that's also when it is actually a tough choice whether or not to save the council, because on one hand you're like, well, you got to be good. On the other hand, you're like, these dickheads don't listen at all.
You say it was a hard decision. My brother, first time playing, I was watching him play through the first game. He's like, "Oh yeah, fuck the council, dead." I'm like, no hesitation. He's like, "Oh yeah, kill the council. We're moving on." I'm like, holy shit!
I did the same thing. I did that in my first playthrough. I also did the same thing in KOTOR with the Jedi Council. I let them die.
You savage, bro.
Well, I was like fucking fake Yoda. Kept like questioning me throughout the entire game. He was a dickhead. They fucking wiped my memory and gave me a whole new set of memories and shit to use me as a weapon. So
One of those Star Wars games made me glad that they actually blew up the planet in A New Hope.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're sounding pretty solid, Captain.
I'm guessing it was SWTOR or something like that with Alderaan.
Yes, Alderaan. I was
I'm trying to think of all the games that you actually go to Alderaan as a map or a mission. I don't think there's that many.
I don't think you go to Alderaan in either of the Knights of the Old Republic games. I think you do like in the Old Republic, like the online game.
Yeah, you do in the online.
That was the one.
In the originals, you do go to what is it, Yavin 4?
Yeah,
like
you do.
A little DLC
Oh, yeah.
one. God, I want to play KOTOR again.
I might. It's one of the games I've been wanting to play on stream on my channel. I'm just trying. I'm still getting stuff set up for my.
Have you ever
Vegas
played
playthrough. Yeah, I played KOTOR 1 and 2 way back in the day.
I played
the
both of the
incomplete the incomplete KOTOR 2. I never got to play a finished version of that effing game.
Well, you can look up modding guides and they can tell you what the mod. And usually with the recommended mods, always is the content patch thing.
Yeah, you know the actual finishing aspects of that. I don't know, man. When I played KOTOR 1, I was goody two shoes. I want to be a good Jedi. Played KOTOR 2. I tried to do that, and then freaking that one planet. No matter what choice you make, it's the wrong choice. Because
this is going. KOTOR is going to be Kotex.
Which one? Which planet? In KOTOR 2?
That what the hell was it called? Kreia, like basically someone comes to you begging as soon as you land the ship. And you can either give them money or ignore them. If you ignore them, they go and they starve to death with their family. If you give them money, they get killed because people freaking steal from them the moment they walk away from you. And both are an object lesson. And at the end, the choice is like there's no choice. You get criticized either way. I tried both ways.
Clip that.
Wrangler, you look very, very perplexed at the moment.
He does.
That was that.
I was reading the window on my screen.
All right, we're clipping that, Christian. We're clipping that. You do go both ways, don't you?
Again, remember that poll? Remember that poll we ran on Otter's Discord?
Was it the crime planet? Starts with an N.
It was the crime planet, like where it's way overpopulated, and that one Jedi was hiding out because of the dense population kind of thing.
Nal Hutta?
Yeah. That's it. I couldn't remember the name. I knew it was a weird.
I couldn't
name.
remember it either.
I guess here
a big thing in a couple of the books.
Oh, and KOTOR did make me racist towards Wookiees. I fucking hate Wookiees. Fucking them rugs can die for all I care.
Which was the MMO that was like the old?
Yes, SWTOR. Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah, the Old Republic.
Yeah, I ended up playing on both sides, and my Jedi was evil, and my Sith Lord was good.
What? Blasphemy.
Is this the mirror universe?
No, I was trying to see how far I could go in doing whatever, because in some of the missions you've got a group, and so some of your decisions are completely made by the group, and so in some cases, you basically all vote, and then however which way the vote goes, that's the way that you go.
That's why you put all your points into charisma, my man. You just make your choice and they all follow, suckers. Free will is an illusion.
See, Raven, this is where you pick your friends well. It's kind of on you.
Yeah. You pick a bunch of weak-willed little friends, and then you are very loud, and then they do what you want. It's perfect, man. I've never done anything like that, but
I would just play with random strangers, and the fun thing was that in a lot of cases I could go the way that I wanted to go, which on the Jedi side was go evil, and on the Sith side was go good.
See, this is how you messed up, because when it came to romancing the Sarlacc pit, they all said yes.
What?
What?
There's a whole subreddit about that. Like, don't put your D in that.
I think I got a connection issue. I heard you say romancing the Sarlacc.
Yeah. See, Raven was playing with random people, and they got to make.
What did you do? Dump poison ivy in there?
Nope, they just saw a hole is a goal, is what they said.
Yep, romancing the sand hole. Yeah, it has a Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone still.
1,000 years of pleasure.
It's like dive in, pants come off. Oh!
What are those dudes called from Hellraiser?
Demons?
Oh,
no, there was a name for them.
The Cenobite.
Yeah, dump them in the Sarlacc pit. They'd love it.
Freaking Han was down there. At first, he was like wanting to be saved, then he realized what it was. He's like, "Let me go! Let me go! No!" Back up. Oh,
I married a woman who fucked her brother. No, get me away. Anything's better.
I always found the Sarlacc pit a little on the world-breaking side.
Why?
Because you would think, if there are spacefaring civilizations on a planet with Sarlacc pit, they would be all over that thing with frickin' weed killer and a heartbeat. They would eradicate those things.
That costs money. Dude, it's a giant desert planet. There's nothing of value there.
It's a giant desert
There'd probably be teams of people roving planets looking for folks stuck in these things to get them out.
Also, does anyone remember before the crate dragon was a sandworm from Dune? Anyone remember that?
Are you talking about in KOTOR where they had the dragons you fight on Tatooine?
Yeah, that's a crate dragon. But in the freaking like in the Mandalorian, freaking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they turned it into a freaking sandworm from Dune, dude.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. I was like, why? I was excited. They
the
said
sandworm with Kevin Bacon.
Like the crate dragon opens its mouth. Kevin Bacon comes out. Let's dance.
John Lithgow goes out and gives that sandworm a stern talking to.
Oh, did any of y'all watch Alkalite or see anything on it, reviews or anything?
I'm doing a full video on it. I've watched.
I did not, because
Alkalites are what
I have a
plants
life.
crave.
I have more pressing matters.
Read out. That's a joke. That's funny.
Garrett, how can you subject yourself to that?
It's for YouTube. It's for my audience.
Stop everyone entertained at night.
I'll tell you something. It's both amazing and kind of boring how predictable they are. It's like, I think the most notable thing about the Acolyte is that everyone is saying that, well, it's not quite as bad as Ahsoka, or it's maybe this or that. Like, every one of these is the same. Every single one. The dialogue is circular. There's literally a conversation I put in my video where one of the characters is she's undercover talking to an apothecary, and so she's essentially like an undercover cop who's impersonating someone else. She's impersonating her twin sister who's evil, and she says hi, and he kind of sits up and he's like, hi. They then cut to the Jedi and they're listening on their wire, right? And they hear a second time she says hi, and he's like, hello. And they cut back to them in the apothecary shop, and he's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "What the hell?
What the hell?
Oh wait,
going on?
is there a scene where they all turn on their lightsabers and it's the rainbow?
Not
flag?
yet. No, they haven't got. No, I'll tell you, the best thing about the Acolyte is that it says it's a murder mystery, right? Which I mean, did we need a murder mystery about the Jedi? No, but whatever. At least in theory, I guess you could do an interesting.
In theory, isn't like that what they do anyway?
But
they
it's not...
serve justice throughout the galaxy. So in theory, they could investigate shit.
This is the High Republic they're setting.
It's not even really about the Jedi. That's the thing. I mean, the Jedi are in it, but it's
about the.
It's
Acolyte.
about stuff. It's about stuff, is what it is. And the murder mystery. There's no mystery because the very first scene shows exactly who the murderer is, who she's killing, and she all but spells out why.
So wait,
and
so the mystery is for the characters, not for the audience.
There's no mystery for the characters. No, there's no mystery for the characters either, because in the second scene, they show you the twin sister of May, the murderer. She gets arrested by Jedi, but the Jedi sort of half already believe her that it's not her that's the murderer. But then the guy that what's his name? Master Soul. He's the Korean actor. Master Soul knows her, and he knows that she has a twin sister who is presumed dead, but he immediately suspects, the twin might have survived. He thinks she's innocent. He goes and finds her. This is the first episode, and he basically decides she's not guilty, she's innocent, and that it's really her evil twin sister who somehow survived and is doing all this. And the next episode is a sting to catch her sister. So there's no mystery. That she's cleared of all wrongdoing in the first episode. We know who the murderer is. We know why she's doing it, and we know who her targets are. There is no reason for this show to exist.
Wait, pause. Imagine Harry Potter, the first movie, is if there's a troll in the dungeon. Thought you want to know. He falls, the turban falls off. Mystery over. That's what this show sounds like.
Gary, does this take place in the High Republic?
It's 100 years before the events of the Phantom Menace is the idea. And I don't know anything about the High Republic.
I need to look it up. I need to remember.
But yes,
what High Republic
I believe that is what it's
High Republic is much older than that. Yeah.
Is it okay? Because I was gonna tell you to put a joke in your video where you spot a rock and you're like, "Is that a cameo by Geode, the most famous Star Wars character ever, Geode?"
Oh, bro!
See, I'm gonna tell you.
Is that true, Star Fury?
Well, you got to get your. Never mind. No comment, Stuff Fury. What I will say is that the Trade Federation is in this. Okay, the Trade Federation is in this, and they don't use droids. They use human labor, and the idea. I think they're setting up. I think they're setting up a stupid origin story for why the Trade Feds use droids, because in the first episode, Osha, who is the evil twin sister, she's working on a Trade Federation ship doing dangerous hull repairs.
There's somebody doing heavy manual labor named Osha.
and then they put them in their barracks underneath in the bottom part of the ship, and they started singing "Break These Chains."
Okay, but here's what's so dumb about it.
Why
right? Because
Osha?
They have this conversation. Osha is on the hull. She's doing repairs. They cut to the captain of the Trade Federation, who does not have a Chinese accent. He does not have a Chinese accent at all. It's so obvious how they went out of their way to make sure they don't have a Chinese accent. But anyway, the captain says, "What's taking so long? Raise the shields." And then the other bridge officer says, "Well, Captain, the Mechnik is on it." And he's like, They're worthless. Their lives are pointless. Our cargo's more valuable." Then Osha was apparently on the comms and overhearing this, and she makes this comment that, "Well, that's really hurtful because it's really Philip who's more useless." So she makes a big joke out of it, and I'm like, your boss just basically implied your life is worthless to him. Why is this funny to you? And why are you back talking someone who would space you? And I'm thinking, well, this is to show that she's an underdog. It's to show that she has a tough job.
She's
Jedi
spunky
show
in
up.
the face of adversity.
Yeah, exactly. The Jedi show up and they demand that the Trade Federation turn her over. They've already established the Trade Federation don't value her life at all. So they say, oh, we don't have any mechanics on this ship because Republic law prohibits human labor on the hull. Only droids are allowed to do that. And I'm like, what? Why are you complicating this? Just have him hand her over. He doesn't give a shit. And then it turns out because they want Yord, the Jedi, to do a mind trick. They wanted to show the mind trick to force the information out of him. So he has no reason to deny it. And they introduced this bizarre lore thing where it's like, okay, so 100 years ago, there was a law that you had to only use droids on the hull. But for some reason, the Trade Federation chose to break that law and maybe risk getting shut down to hire presumably cheaper human labor. But how could human labor be cheaper than droids? What is this? This show is so stupid. It's written by idiots.
I somehow there's surely never anyone working outside on a project as large as a Death Star. Surely never, not once.
It's a pointless, dude. The dialogue in this show is so childish. Like this is a childlike way of thinking about how people talk to each other.
No subtext is all direct, but also dumb.
Yeah, it's all and this happened stuff. And this is the thing about every Disney Star Wars show and Marvel show is like this now. Every single one. They don't actually have an interesting story. There's no tension in the story. There's no actual character to like get to know. So every episode devolves into a fetch quest. In this first episode of The Acolyte, there is no mystery. There is no fugitive story because, Osha gets her name cleared immediately. There's not even a pursuit or a chase because the Jedi can just teleport wherever they want instantly, anywhere in the galaxy, because hyperspace has no distance anymore.
A 2-episode arc from the Clone Wars cartoon has better storytelling.
Yeah, so what they do is they create a fetch quest. The Jedi the Jedi have arrested Osha. They are going to take her back to Coruscant. They have flown to the far edge of the galaxy to find this Trade Federation ship. How did they find it? How they get there so fast? Who knows? But they arrest her. She is guilty, or presumed guilty, of murdering a Jedi Master. A Jedi Master.
Ain't nobody on a ship in the far reaches of space that... What the hell happened here?
Are there any they/them Jedi?
That would be like saying Stephen Hawking murdered Chuck Norris in a fist fight.
It's pretty.
Who's going to believe that?
We found him in an obscure little town in Texas, hiding out.
But this is they need the fetch quest, right? They need Osha to wind up stranded on a planet so they can have a pointless chase, to go get her. So what do? The Jedi don't take her back on their ship. They put her on a separate ship with no humans on it. It's all droid automated to send her back to Coruscant. And the Jedi, quite separately, take their own fighter separately. And then, of course, what happens? All the prisoners get loose. The prison ship crashes on an ice planet. And now we have to have the whole episode is basically about how Master Soul has to go get her off of this ice planet. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Wow. Why wouldn't the Jedi escort her personally on their ship? Even the Mandalorian isn't this stupid. Even the Mandalorian is like, I'm taking you with me on my ship.
I saw a trailer for it the other day. I don't normally comment on stuff like this, especially when I don't care. But I saw the trailer and it was just came onto my Instagram. I was like, I just commented, not going to see it. No, nothing else. That's all I commented.
Yeah.
And then someone responded with a 3-page essay about how I'm just hearing all the talking points of everyone else, and I'm prejudging someone, and I just have to watch it for myself and have a brain of my own and give it a chance. And
yeah, Kahuna, you're just the worst.
I don't think anything through.
I don't have to give it. Every single one of these is like this. I'm telling you that Disney is populated by morons. Like, these are not talented people. These are people that cannot write at a basic level. I've been watching Better Call Saul again. And it is incredible to me how fascinating it is to watch, Jimmy, who's this con artist lawyer trying to get ahead in life, and he's trying to repair his relationship with his brother. His brother, Chuck, who is this great lawyer, who's very celebrated, has this condition where he thinks that electromagnetic energy causes him pain. And so he can't leave his house. And there's this whole relationship between him and his brother where they sort of need each other, and yet they are at odds with each other because Chuck thinks that Jimmy is a petty criminal and doesn't trust him, and Jimmy is trying to kind of like prove himself to Chuck that he's a good lawyer. And it's like
so one is a lawyer and the other is a
well, they're both lawyers. They're both lawyers. Oh yeah.
Well, also in the context of that, his brother is petty as shit. Like his brother's
yeah, he has a fake mental condition, and so he can't leave his house. Of course he's petty.
No. Like really petty. Like his brother managed to clean himself up finally, and then actually once inspired by the older brother to want to be a lawyer and be just like him. And he's just every step of the way just knocking him down, even when they're celebrating and shit.
Yeah, there's a great conversation in the first season when Jimmy confronts Chuck and just says, why? Why don't you want me to be employed at your law firm? Why won't you? Because Chuck sabotages him and lies about it, pretends that, oh yeah, Jimmy, you're great. But then Jimmy finds out and he's like, why? And Chuck says, because you're not a real lawyer, which is just this shocking, terrible thing for him to say because you've just watched a whole season of Jimmy fighting like hell to like prove himself.
Yeah.
And at first you're on Jimmy's side. See, this is the key. Great writers can do this. Two people are arguing, but both have a certain amount of right on their side, or at least we understand the reasons on both sides, right? So Chuck says, Jimmy, you're slipping Jimmy. You're a small town con artist. And you know what? I'm fine with that. But not slipping Jimmy with a law degree. That's like giving a chimp a machine gun. And the law is sacred.
Oh, that's a great line.
Yeah, it's a great line. And Chuck's whole point is, Jimmy, the law is sacred. It's not something to be wielded lightly. You could destroy lives. People could get hurt, right? Which is great, because if you know Breaking Bad, you know that Saul is Walter White's lawyer in the future. So Chuck is right. He's right about this. But at the same time, Jimmy is sincere in his efforts to be a good lawyer, and this is crushing him. It's crushing him. So what I'm getting at is, look at how much drama and intensity and suspense and amazing lines from just two men talking.
Yeah,
that's what you
good
can do.
Is.
Oh yeah, with great character work. Two of the best scenes in House of the Dragon first season involve people walking.
Yeah. No, that's the difference. A bad writer maybe can make an action scene entertaining. A good writer can make a simple conversation between two people one of the more compelling scenes in the story.
That's why you need good writers for Star Trek.
No,
Yes.
I think we should just let it burn like with the rest.
So Star Trek's done. It's crap.
Oh, but yeah,
hey, you know what? Out of all the franchises that have been destroyed, we Trekkies have been lucky because at least we got Picard Season 3, a hint of what things used to be. So we were able to enjoy that. That's probably the last thing we're getting out of them that's worth anything.
I
in the future, I would love to come back here and say, hey, I was wrong. They started making awesome stuff again. They might, but I'm not holding my breath.
Garrett, I also think that Chuck kind of calls Jimmy to go full on Better Call Saul.
Let the woman talk.
You know what's interesting? I kind of would have agreed with you the first time I watched the show, but I'm watching it a second time and I'm catching more of just how often Jimmy deceives himself. That would later Saul, like Jimmy deceives himself because in the very first episode, he pulls a con in order to get the Kettlemans to hire him as a lawyer. And it goes wrong, and that's how he winds up with Tuco. So that's the first episode. And that's at the point where Jimmy is trying his very best to be a good man, an honest lawyer. And in Jimmy's mind, it's one little compromise just to get a start, right? But that's the problem that Chuck sees that Jimmy doesn't. If you're willing to do this once, you're willing to do it all the time. And that means you haven't actually changed. That was Chuck's whole point. You have not changed, and you never will. And he even concludes that diatribe by saying to Jimmy, come on, Jimmy. I'm not doing this to hurt you. You know I'm right. You know yourself. You know this is true. And Jimmy storms off because he can't hear it. But
Chuck goes to the point of actual sabotage and doing some seedy shit as well too,
Yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah.
And then Jimmy
Yeah,
retaliates.
It gets medieval. But my point is, they are very complex characters, and it's amazing to watch just simple things unfold with those characters.
And you also notice that Kim's a fucking enabler, by the way. It's even on my first watch through of it. She's an enabler.
She's great. She's a great character.
No. I love her character, but she is an enabler of Jimmy's fucking shit.
But he's an enabler of her, though, because
I know.
He's the one that first gets her to start pulling cons, and she gets a taste for it. Yeah. So now
because I love season 5's finale. I love it when she fucking does the gun motion at him when she's talking about screwing over Howard and all this other stuff, and it just ends with that.
But in any case,
motion, they're in the hotel. She full on commits to being screwing over Howard with Jimmy,
right?
Like full dive into it.
And it's just interesting to me because those are characters that have layers. You know, they have. I think you can only really have good characters if they're in conflict with themselves. I think because all of us are in conflict with ourselves at times, and that's because humans are complex. And what you get with all of these Disney Plus shows, you get nothing like that. You get characters that are one-dimensional, if that. I argue that even the characters in Ahsoka are not even one-dimensional. Ahsoka has no character in the Ahsoka show. She's not a person in the show. She doesn't have wants, needs, a mission, a purpose.
She's a vehicle for the plot, and that's kind of it.
She's Rosario Dawson. I don't know what else she is, okay? She has no... What does she want? Why is she out there? What is she doing for the Republic? Why? Where has she been? I have none of... and every character in that show is like that. And it's like, so... When I watch Acolyte, it's funny that someone's like, oh, you need to see for yourself. I've seen 10 of these, is what I would say to that commenter. I've seen 10 of these. They're all shit.
That's basically what I said to him. I said, Star Wars has not earned any more chances. They've been given many, many chances. The last thing by Disney Star Wars I liked at all was season 2 of The Mandalorian. That's it. Nothing else since then has been worth anyone's time.
Oh, so I saw a couple episodes of The Bad Batch. That was Disney, right? I thought they were fun.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I hated that show. I can't do it. I just can't do it with the Filoni cartoons anymore. I liked Clone Wars sometimes. I liked about half the episodes.
It was probably easier for me because I was unfamiliar with every character there, so I didn't have any ideas of what should be going on with them or how they would be. Or
there's a Filoni formula, and it's so boring now. Every single episode is kind of the same thing. And I think I'm tired of those characters. I think maybe it's just the format. It's kind of meant to be a cartoon. Maybe that's what went wrong with Ahsoka, but
maybe. But I think I know what's wrong with acolytes or however you say it. You ever notice on that logo, it kind of highlights the O in the center for just a second. It's like it's under the control of the One Ring.
It is evil.
The rangs of power have gotten to it.
See.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't watched Better Call Saul, do it.
Yeah.
I know what you were, what you are. People don't change. You're Slippin' Jimmy. And Slippin' Jimmy I can handle just fine, but Slippin' Jimmy with a law degree is like a chimp with a machine gun.
Dude, that episode, that scene is brilliant. Everything that leads up to that conversation is, it's fantastic.
Well, it's also true in families too. Like, once people fall into their lanes within a family, whether it's good or bad, a lot of families have a lot of trouble when someone switches lanes in regards to what they're trying to be and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, so Better Call Saul, the two main characters are Jimmy and Mike.
Mike's story is so good. It is so good in that show.
Is that show as dour as Breaking Bad?
No.
Yes. Oh, I think it is.
At the beginning, no. It's once you get later on, yeah.
It's pretty. No, it's. I think it is just as dark as Breaking Bad. It's not quite as intense as.
I don't
Breaking
mind
Bad, though.
dark. But to me, Breaking Bad was just shitty. A lot of shitty people making continually shitty decisions. And
Garrett,
there was
I'm
very
gonna
little
say
else
I
to
don't
it.
really see Breaking Bad that way. I don't see it that way.
Well,
But I
like-
don't see
like
the
the
first
main
two
character from the
seasons.
very beginning is a piece of shit. From the very beginning.
Walter White?
Yes.
Oh,
He
he
is
is-
not.
he's
He is
kinda
not a
justified.
good man. He is a weak man, who suddenly decides to do what he wants and is therefore uninhibited by his weakness.
I don't think it's quite that simple. I think Walter White is a man that had great ambitions for himself, and he got to a point in his life where the jig was up and he was out of time, and that motivated him to do something that he thought could help him build a legacy and reclaim kind of what his birthright in life was, and it twisted him. He wound up becoming twisted by it by the end. I see it as a journey to the dark side. Is what
keep also in
I don't
mind-
think that. I don't think that's true, Garrett.
Christian.
I think that he was bad from the beginning. Like
No.
how he acts later in the show is how he wanted to before, when he felt like he was trapped and unable to.
Hey, keep
act
in
out
mind that
part.
Vince actually wrote him to be kind of he has to do bad things for his family, and as he continued on writing with the show, he wanted to make Walter White more and more that he was always this egotistical asshole.
I guess I view humanity. I think every human, without exception, has light and dark in them, and I think it's ultimately a choice. The choices we make are what determine how much of one or the other is what we're going to show up in the world as. I mean, let me give you an
Which
example,
wolf do you feed?
Let me give you an
I have
example
two
of
wolves
why
in me.
I disagree with you. Because at the very end of the show, the end of and I'm not going to spoil anything exactly if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, but very last season, arguably Walter White has reached his final form. He's basically a kind of, Scarface character. However, he has his last conversation on the phone with Skyler, and he pretends to be as evil as possible because he knows the police are listening, and he wants to give her an alibi so she doesn't go to jail for his crimes. And so he starts basically cursing her out and threatening her like an abusive husband and saying like, you
Are
never
you talking
listen.
about before the finale?
It's before the finale. It's in the final
Yeah.
season. And while he's giving this tirade and calling her a bitch and just threatening her and telling her how worthless she is, you could see on Bryan Cranston's face the performance of the actor. It's like Walt is crying because this isn't what he wants to say to her. He wants to say goodbye because he loves her. He's saying goodbye to his children.
Have
He
a
doesn't
great
wanna
night,
leave
Christy.
them.
Good night, Christy.
Good night, Christy. Thanks for stopping by. And
Herman says I
think
have
that
3
that
wolves.
reveals that Walter White has humanity and had from the beginning.
I don't think I'm not okay. I'm not saying I do think he had humanity, but I think the most telling thing about him as a person is maybe season 3 or 4 when they tell him his cancer is gone, and he is pissed. I think that's the most telling thing about his character. I think that's the most revealing, true look at who he is.
Wait, you're
in
telling
that
me
moment.
that's more revealing than a kid getting shot during the train heist and they stick the kid in the barrel and melt him?
I haven't seen the entire show.
Why are you talking about this?
I've watched good portions of it. At some point, I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, later on, a kid gets shot by while they're doing a train house for the methylamine shit, and Walter White doesn't give a fuck and just puts him in a barrel and melts him.
I'm glad you bring that up. Because I was just going to make the point that I disagree that Walt was the same person at the beginning as the end. Because in the beginning, he's not willing to do things that at the end of the show he is willing to do, and that was an example of that. He would never have been okay with that in season 1, but in season 6, he's become. His self-delusions have gotten so refined that he can lie to himself and say, oh, it was a terrible thing, but it was unavoidable.
Garrett.
Little by little by little, and then bang, all at once.
Also, on Better Call Saul, Jimmy does prove Chuck wrong at the end.
That's true. He does. Jimmy is actually, well, I guess Jesse is also a repentant character, but Jimmy is like, yeah, he repents.
Jesse is a user. He uses everybody in his life.
You know, I don't like Jesse's because he doesn't actually face consequences for what he's done.
What are
Jimmy
you talking
does.
about?
He
He
does
was
face
tortured and
consequences.
made a slave. That's a pretty high price.
Yeah, he also
his
killed
his
innocent
girlfriend was
people.
shot in the head at the end.
He also
He
killed
paid.
innocent people.
No,
He
he
didn't
uses
kill
up
any.
every.
Who did Jesse kill that was
Yeah.
innocent? He didn't kill any innocent people.
That dude was not evil. The fucking original meth cook for Gus. Forgot his name.
Oh,
whole
Gail.
reason Hank
Gail
was
wasn't
able-
innocent. Gail was cooking
Yeah.
meth. Gail wasn't innocent of anything.
Yeah.
Well, like
he
Jesse
was a
isn't
nice
innocent
guy,
either.
and he was a nerd, and he was kind of we liked him. We liked him as the audience. He was not innocent. He was helping cook for a meth empire.
So was Jesse.
he was innocent.
Right. I'm saying it was a criminal shooting a criminal. And that doesn't make it right, but it was a criminal shooting a
But it
criminal.
doesn't make it right, and he gets to just sail off into the sunset
I-
with a new fucking life.
I'm not opposed to dark stories. We're in the middle of reading Berserk. I just got the new deluxe volume, by the way.
Oh,
Billy.
now we're gonna have to.
Yeah, we're gonna have to schedule that. But I don't mind a dark story. But I've watched enough of Breaking Bad and I've read enough of Berserk. Comparing the two, I have hope for the future when I read Berserk. There is no hope of any future when I watch Breaking Bad. There's nothing.
Well,
Yeah, there
I think
is.
that
I mean,
that's not
there-
why you kind of sign up to Breaking Bad, though. In the first, I think you kind of sign up
Christian.
to watch the bad guy try to win.
Walter.
I think that's why you
Walter
do it.
White's daughter has the best hope in the show.
I mean,
She's
I don't
young enough
watch.
to-
I don't watch House of the Dragon for hope. There is no hope in George R. R. Martin's universe. I don't watch it for that at
I
all.
disagree with that. That there are like just because good characters lose a lot of the time doesn't mean that they don't occasionally win. It doesn't mean
Yeah, but
that there's no
that's
hope
Song
of
of
them
Ice
winning
and Fire.
in the future.
Yeah, but that's a Song of Ice
Oh,
and Fire.
dude, I'm
not
telling
House
you
of
right
Dragon.
now, whatever hope you have for any character in any Game of Thrones anything, it's like those games where you know, the claw, you put in the quarter and the claw's going to get that little stuffed animal. It's never going to happen, man. It is never. It's going to look. You're going to get just the
a
arm.
Song of Ice and Fire, even the adaptations, at least the claw will open. In Breaking Bad, the claw doesn't even descend.
I know, Staffy. I did not get to do a captain's cast yesterday, so I'm going crazy.
I like how he turned the name of your channel into a verb there.
We're getting swords and starship.
Star Fury's down with it.
I think he's tried to say swords and starshipped.
Oh, I know what he's trying to, but this is funnier. Also, Garrett, I love you, man. I like that we disagree on shit. It's fun.
It ends in a PSD.
I don't think I don't agree with anyone. I don't agree with anyone.
That's
okay.
that's the problem, Emily, with our modern TV shows and stuff. They mix the good guys and the bad guys and the happy with the sad. I don't think they know how to write anything hopeful anymore.
You
One Piece
can
live
have
action.
a dark show with hope. Fate Zero is my favorite example to point out in that. It is dark.
Stranger
as
Yeah,
shit.
but Fate Zero isn't modern.
That's true.
Considering Reigns
a
of Power,
little out there and wacky, but Farscape in the end is very dark yet hopeful.
yeah.
No, I think One Piece was great for that, and I think what was the other one I just mentioned? I forget. But
The
Stranger
first Mummy
Things.
movie.
I love Stranger Things. It's dark, but it has such heart, and the characters are so lovable. And
Even when it
they're always
doesn't, like the
driving
show
at
doesn't
something.
always make sense, but I still really like Stranger Things. It's a great show.
Rings of Power, I think, made it very obvious why they're having problems. Is that in their storytelling, they don't know what the difference is between good and bad, and so they have to tell you that this person doing bad things is actually a good person, and this person doing good things is actually the bad person.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think Hollywood cannot write moral characters, but to your
It's 'cause
question, Emily, I think yes. I know it's the only example I can think of at the moment, but One Piece live action. But I know that I've seen at least something else this year.
Unfortunately, if you want something that's not dark and gritty and depressing, you're going to have to go to Hallmark, which is in its own way depressing.
Well, it's
I
also
can't
when,
watch another Hallmark film.
Godzilla Minus One is one of the most hopeful, uplifting things I've seen in a decade. So
I thought you were going to say you have to write it yourself there.
Well, we do, and we have. Oh, Garrett, I have your book, by the way. It came in along with a whole bunch of others recently. I'm gonna make a little unboxing video for them.
Oh, you do me too much honor, sir. Thank you.
It's something you notice with like
This
Disney
book is too depressing. I don't know why people like it.
You know, my attitude about dark storytelling, my personal taste is I like a dark story with a ray of hope, and so Game of Thrones is too dark for me. But I mean, I enjoy it in the same level that I enjoy a Breaking Bad or whatever. But I think that I think life involves darkness, and I think that Luke in
Who the fuck is rolling the dice?
That's a pencil, man.
Star Wars is like the ultimate tale of adventure and heroism, but it's full of darkness. The Empire's evil; they'll torture and execute people.
What do you think of Brendan Fraser's The Mummy for that balance?
That's rebel propaganda.
I love The Mummy. The Mummy's great.
Yeah, it was dark and gritty, yet upbeat and hopeful the whole time.
I even like the second Mummy, The Mummy Returns. I love that movie too.
Yeah.
I mean, the
The
third
third
one
one would have worked if it had Rachel Weisz.
If they didn't go to China.
No, Star Wars got really dark in the Dark Knight comic book series because.
Why does he say it so erotically? It's like breathy. It's like he's whispering into a. He's like, China.
The first Star Wars literally had a fucking entire planet get blown up with millions, billions of men, women, and children.
And then a non-space fascist makes fun of the princess when he lies to her face. He's like, "Oh well, we're kind of the bad guys, so f you and say bye planet."
I'm going to be honest. Garrett is spreading this misinformation of the rebels about torturing and shit.
If you've played the Old Republic, you know that Alderaan deserved to get blown up.
See, I didn't play that version of. I only played.
I guess
the
the Empire calls it enhanced interrogations, is what they call it.
Enhanced.
No, this is modern. It's not Alderaan. It's
or aggressive negotiation.
What y'all didn't notice? What y'all didn't notice?
Adderall. There we go.
Yeah,
we call it Adderall now.
What y'all didn't notice over the doorway? It said "safe space" when they put.
My mistake. I should have read that. It's like Malgus when he's walking into the Jedi Temple. He's like, "Oh crap! I can't call them all the discriminatory names I was going to call them as I kill them. Dang it!"
Call them jiggers.
Jesus, dude.
Reminds me of the safety box in Spin City when they were visiting the shrink's office.
This is a safe space. You know,
this is your safety box. When you're in here, you can say how you feel. And then so he just said, "This is the box," and then starts just throwing out all these zingers. And he looks over at the psychologist and goes, "You're right, You're right, Doc. Box rocks."
Well, it's like in Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. There's a shrink who's always trying to get Jensen to open up, and it's like this is a place where you can really expose what's going on the inside. He's like, "Yeah. Anyway. Going to kill some bad guys. I'm out." Only for me to hack into her computer later and be like, "Oh yeah, she's a lying piece of shit."
Yeah. Well, I read a rumor that we might be seeing The Mummy 4 very soon with both Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz.
I hope they don't ruin it. I don't see how they can't.
Is Brendan Fraser going to be really fat in it?
I would think he'd probably shape up for the role.
Shape up? Is that the word we're going to use? We need to shape down. We need to bring it all back to.
Shapes up.
Shape up has been the.
No, I know. I'm just
thing since. Maybe I'm just stuck in the 80s. I don't know.
I wish I was.
Shape up with Mary Hart.
So I could have stuck there too. How does Rachel Weisz look at this point? Not that it matters, but I'm curious.
It matters. I know we want to be gentlemen, but it matters for that kind of work.
It's like
appearance
respectfully.
matters.
Respectfully. Is she still hot?
Oh, of course she is.
Of course, yeah. Some women age.
Now
so
let's find out for
relatively.
certain here.
I'll look it up too. Oh, not that side. Hold on.
I'm with you, Emily. You know, it was Star Fury who was trying to tell me that Shkishkima should have died at the end of Godzilla -1, and I have been trying. I've been trying assiduously to convince him that he's wrong about this.
Well, he failed at his job as a kamikaze pilot, so you know. Just saying.
It's like you should have used the power of your ancestors. You
no,
can
you know what
do it.
actually pissed? You know who should have stayed dead? That actually did piss me off in Godzilla -1. His love interest. That bitch should be dead.
You see, well, this is exactly why. This is why we can't ever have happy endings anymore.
They're the ones who decided to kill her off. Not
didn't
me.
kill her off. She didn't die. She was
Dude,
presumed
she was supposed to be dead, and then they done like
is that rape
the
twice
scheme.
now?
I'm not sure. I'm not finding dates on
Hold
these.
on. Hold on. I had one a second ago. Yeah.
Here,
hold
I'll
on.
get one.
Pretty hot.
I hope so, but-
I know in this picture she's done up, but holy smokes, dude! This is it's not even it ain't right if this is true. Here, check it out. That's her 2024. I know she's done up. I know it's a photo shoot, but what the hell, dude?
No, I found a recent photo of her.
Oh dear. she is the mummy in the new movie, apparently.
Oh wait, no! I think you got the wrong middle initial.
Also, I didn't realize
that's
how
her.
her last name was spelled. That's very.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a.
Isn't that like a snack company?
Weiss? I'm not sure. I think
You know,
it's a
like make
Jewish
potato
filmmaking
chips or
company.
something.
Oh, here's a question. I haven't seen -1 yet. I was supposed to see it, and despite Maji's anger over it, I wasn't able to see it like we wanted to. But
What?
between Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1, which is your fit? Which
Godzilla -1.
Thank you, Emily.
Best Godzilla film ever made.
Hold
And
up,
do
what did
not,
you
do
do?
not
down,
watch
Godzilla
this,
-1.
What did you do to Maji?
I
You didn't get her
didn't go
that
see
Valentine's
-1.
gift?
We were supposed to, and then I couldn't do it. Something like with family came up.
Well, in his defense, in order for us to do something, he usually has to travel like 2.5 hours to get here.
It's a like she lives in Canada basically. Like she said,
I
"Hey,"
live
every
in
time
the
I see her.
U.S.
Yeah, but you know, relationships are all about compromises. You know.
That's true. That's true. I'm sorry, honey.
Oh, jeez. You are not helping our argument here. Kahuna.
I know.
She wants you to pet the beaver.
It's okay, Maji. It's okay to be an Eskimo.
You say an
He's
Eskimo,
seen my beaver.
bro? What's happening?
Not that!
You guys are scaring Garrett.
No, I have a little stuffed beaver on my bed.
Maji was.
Yeah, and it lays there
Oh.
every night.
No,
Jeez.
I didn't know
Oh.
that beaver represented something else in pop
And
culture.
then you gotta clean it,
so
and
I
so
didn't
she
know
went
it,
off on it on
showed-
screen. She's like, "You guys want to see my beaver?" And we're all just like, "No, Maji, no." Oh,
And so
Christ,
I showed
dude.
them my Squishmallow beaver, which is this cute little squishy. Not
It's
my fault.
squishy.
They went into the gutter.
It's-
Sorry, Garrett.
Where is that video from the Naked
I
Gun?
am just working quietly over here.
Like she goes up the ladder. Nice beaver. Thanks. I just had it stuffed. Comes back down. Has a.
Oh yeah, I gotta
I
clip
love
that.
I love that.
That will be a clip next week.
I know it's one of my favorites.
Naked Gun is best.
Everywhere.
Now
I
watch
look,
me go
something
all over
reminds me of
YouTube and I
her.
can't find it.
All right, time to kill Garrett's innocence.
Oh,
No, I'm not going to tear anyone.
You know what people would say if they found out I tried to fuck a ready boy and it turned out to be a ready girl?
Oh, I love that. I love that.
But anyways, watch Better Call Saul.
That's the. Oh wait, no, we were on the Godzilla thing. So Garrett, you say -1. What are the rest of you saying?
By like a mile.
Yeah. Whoa, it's impressive. I really like Shin Godzilla. It's a great movie.
I love Shin Godzilla, but Shin Godzilla is Game of Thrones, and Godzilla -1 is. It's just on another level. It's not even just a Godzilla film to me. It's just brilliant.
Monty, what do you think?
Did you say it's
-1
technically
or
a dude with a problem movie?
By a nose, because it does technically fit Monster in the House perfectly. There's a monster that represents pure evil. The house is Tokyo, and the sin that unleashes him is both Shikishima's cowardice and nuclear weapons. War, nuclear weapons is all the sins of humanity that unleash him. I was watching it. I was watching it with a normie last night, night before last, and she was like, "Oh, so you can never beat Godzilla in the end, can you?" I said, "No, because he's our sin. You can't. He represents the things we done wrong."
Yeah, that like in Japanese Godzilla, that's what it should be. It's not Godzilla versus other monsters. It's us versus our own mistakes and our sin, or everything we've done wrong. Or it's like I love the 1954 and Shin for the same reasons. Like, how would they respond to this calamity?
The message.
With the message.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard something
would
about
say
Star
that
Wars recently.
Every other Godzilla film is a monster in the house except for -1, because I think -1 is really focused on Shikishima, and it really is like a flawless dude with a problem story, because he's an innocent hero. He's dragged into a life or death battle. He's very much average compared to Godzilla. He's nothing to Godzilla. In fact, I love how every stage of that movie keeps reinforcing how totally impotent he is in the face of Godzilla. There's nothing he can do except
he's
run
not even a
and-
half-mast. He's limp as a biscuit.
Yeah, he can't even. He can do
Ouch.
nothing but watch Godzilla ruin his city. Kill his essentially his girlfriend. There's nothing he can do, and that's what that film is driving at until that third act is. That's what puts it over the top, because that third act is so damn brilliant. It blew me away. The first time I saw it, I kind of was loving the movie right up until Act 3, and then I was like, "Holy shit! This is way more than I thought it was." And I was like,
I think I like the Lovecraftian horror aspect of Shin Godzilla. I
do.
haven't seen -1 yet.
I do love that. I really like Shin Godzilla. It's pretty great.
But it sounds like the human characters are more compelling in the -1 film.
Well, I think -1 is a human story, and Shin Godzilla is kind of a. It's what's the word?
It's a societal kind of. It's a look at society rather than an individual.
Yeah,
it's about
very much a
government's
horror
response
story.
to. Well, like it's also showing like how the government is so inept responding to tragedy most of the time.
It's kind of a Chernobyl Godzilla movie. It's like Godzilla's like the Chernobyl meltdown is kind of what he is in that movie.
It's like, what do we do? These people, we have to have meetings about having meetings, and it's government grinds to a halt, and meanwhile, this calamity is still ongoing.
Star Fury says Godzilla is the ruination of all hope. How great is this, Star Fury? You have got, look at this. You have an excellent, immediate, in the first scene of the film, you have a battle with Godzilla. Then you have an amazing Godzilla trashing the city. Then you have a scene where Godzilla trashes a battleship, and you have a boat chase, and the final battle with Godzilla is fought at sea upon the waves by nautical men. You can't beat that. There's no movie that can beat that.
How will we defeat Godzilla?
At sea.
Seamen.
That's right. We are seafaring men.
Yes, seamen. That's how we'll defeat him.
But you gotta admit though.
You were saying, Maji?
You gotta admit though, the plan to defeat him in Godzilla -1 was actually genius. They not
It's
only
incredible.
take him out to sea, but they actually use his own biology, his own physical features against him by forcing him to go between the depths of the ocean and the surface as rapid as they do, weakening him.
Yeah, I love Noda, the character, the brainiac that comes up with all of that. Like, he's such a great character. I love his little
Is
speech.
he played by anyone we know, or?
I don't,
No, nobody in that movie is well known, I don't think.
At least not here. Yeah.
I think a couple of them. I think the actress who plays Noriko is pretty well known in Japan. Ryuna Soke, who plays the Gishkima, I think he's like kind of an up and comer. He's kind of got a great story too. Apparently, he had a disease when he was born that he wasn't expected to live past age 5, and his mother wouldn't give up on him, and then finally he outlived it. He survived the disease, and I forget exactly why, but that was part of her rationale for getting him into acting. You know, she just felt like he was a miracle and needed to be out there in the world. It's pretty awesome. He's kind of perfect to be that character, you know, his life is spared, and he uses it to save the people he loves and to save his city. It's brilliant.
Well, it's like that's why I love diving into the cinema of other cultures on occasion, because every couple of years I'll do it with a different culture. Like I've gone into Korean movies a little bit recently. There's just one actor, I can't remember his name, but he's a big tough guy, and he always either plays a gangster or a cop. And the guy is just he has the coolest. He's like, as soon as he's on screen, you're like, this guy's gonna kick ass, and I'm here for it every single second. I'm down for it. Whatever happens in this story, I'm here for it, man. I love that kind of story. Sail oars.
Well, I wish I knew why my audio was working when I join a stream, but not when I try and run one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I heard you. Yeah, you said something about having trouble on your on yesterday too.
Yeah, I went on StreamYards today to record a video, and the recording came out all garbled. I'm like, what the hell? And Mozilla doesn't work because I can't share or hear audio. I tried Opera. Safari doesn't support StreamYard, so I'm like, I guess I just got to go to Restream. I don't know what to do.
I'm a what do I use? I use like Microsoft Edge, because it's like the one that just comes with my computer.
I use Brave.
Brave doesn't work with everything for me. I've tried it. It doesn't always work for me.
That might be why I'm struggling with half the stuff I try and do.
Yeah, it's good for some things. It's not as restrictive in certain ways, but it doesn't support every application I've tried to use with it.
Yeah, there are some things I just can't do with Brave, but I mean, I've been using Brave here with StreamYards since I started doing this.
Browser Wars 2.0.
Well, I'm going to use Netscape Navigator.
Man, that was the best.
Netscape Navigator. I remember that.
I
got my 600 baud modem. I hope nobody calls while I'm trying to download this, or it'll knock me offline.
See, I didn't even have access to a computer until I was like 12 or 13. Like, I didn't even have, like, it was never even a possibility up until that point. So I can't even remember that. Yeah, so like, what, 94? So I wouldn't have had access to the internet until like 2006 or 2005 at earliest. That's wild, dude.
Yeah, when I first went on the internet, I thought it's just a shopping kiosk, and I kind of ignored it for a while. I didn't realize you could do things that wasn't looking stuff up to buy.
Oh, Christian.
Yeah.
What did you think about that foreshadowing I gave you for Deluxe Volume 7?
Star Fury.
What is it?
Yeah, dude, you'd load up those images and they would come in line by line by line. And then it was
like
someone would troll you and give you a wrong.
There's 6 pixels of nude woman on here.
Oh,
I'm here for it.
And you had to like monopolize the phone of your household to do that.
Yep. Or you sit down for a game of British Legends and CompuServe, and next thing you know, you get $1,000 bill. Oops.
Yeah,
I know
there was
people-
like a period in like the last couple years of the 90s where you'd call your friend's house and it'd be a busy city. You'd be like, damn it, they're on the internet.
Well, maybe we should explain that before cell phone, people used to have like a centralized phone in the same house that everyone used. And
Yeah.
it was sometimes actually hooked on a wire, and you couldn't take the phone further out than what the wire would give you. Yeah.
It was
good
like a
old
long
days.
curly cord.
Yep.
I'm
Ours
going to
was
do
in
my
the
next
kitchen.
stream with tin can and strings.
It would get tangled up, and then you had to undo the tangling of your phone cord. But there was nothing more satisfying to hang up than a good old-fashioned plastic phone.
So wait, Billy, which foreshadowing are you talking about? Guts doing a weird bulge crotch dance, the detective with a mechanical hand, or the goat licking its lips furiously. Which
licking its
gif?
With the snake.
With the snake? Hold on. Oh, I have no idea. Some more foreshadowing. It's
Well, what did you see in Deluxe Volume 6? There's a particular person with a goat aesthetic and a snake aesthetic at the same time.
yeah, I know.
There's your
Oh.
foreshadowing.
That's not gonna end
I
well.
basically pseudo threatened my bookstore today too. I'm like, you better get more of those deluxe volumes. I come in like every 3 weeks to buy a new one. Come on, man, I need my deluxe.
Tell your bookstore they better have a good frequency
I
studio
I come in here. I'm like scratching my arms. Got any Berserk?
My store is like, it's rolling, man. It's always different volumes that are available. Sometimes there's very few available. It's insane. Like, people are buying it up these days, it seems.
I had to tell.
I gotta put a thing together for your book, Captain.
What?
The quick little things I have like this. Star Shatter, the exciting first book in the swashbuckling space opera series. Link in the description. Oh yeah, I put together a thing like that for yours.
That could be fun.
Bloody
All right, guys.
Sophie.
I actually gotta head out. I have dinner and a few other things I gotta take care of. But
Maji,
hey, Wrangler,
he's
thanks for
having
having
dinner
me.
without you? That's just wrong.
Selfish man.
Yeah, sorry, Star Fury, you're just gonna have to log into AOL for now.
You'll also have to pay
man.
for your email
was-
service. Yeah.
That stood for America Online.
I never knew that. That's funny.
What program did you use to get there? PC Link?
Here's
Oh,
one
man.
for you, Kahuna. Do you know what AT&T stands for?
Guilty!
Don't
Hey,
Google
guilty.
it. You know
I'm not.
AT&T? I'll give you a hint. It's been around since the 1800s.
Holy Ariel.
I used to know and I can't remember.
First letter stands for American.
America. Wait. Stop.
Wait,
stands for-
I'm guessing.
A. Yeah.
A is American.
AT&T.
American T-Rex. Nation.
Telegraph and telephone
Telegraph.
something, right?
Okay.
It's American Telephone and Telegraph.
Yeah, it makes
Yep.
sense.
Well, we used to have SNET
I still
around
like
here.
mine better.
Oh, I
We
get
go beyond the call. Southern
I-
New England telephone.
I worked at CompuServe, and every month we had to tear the magazine covers off in order to send them back. And we would take all of the CompuServe, AOL, and all the other 3.5-inch floppy disks, and we'd keep them, and then we could take them home and delete all the stuff off of them and use them as just blank disks.
Oh wow,
Are we gonna
400 megabytes of storage.
Yeah, tons of it.
Are we going to have to hire a maid?
For what?
Because this stream's getting pretty dusty right now.
Oh, everybody, yeah, all the old people. Anyway,
Burn!
bye guys.
Bye, Kahuna.
Have
See you later, Kona. Now I can break out my 8-track tape player.
Poor Captain. I don't think he realized what he signed up for when he volunteered to come on.
He's been on here.
I never know. I couldn't do my stream last night, so I was jonesing. I had to get.
Usually,
some
you only
things
have
off
to
my
deal with
chest.
this in the chat. Now you got to deal with this vocally.
Yeah, I'm kind of half working on my video, trying to finish up my my Acolyte video. I did it. Full review.
I don't know how you could do that. I couldn't even finish Desperoux's review of it. It was so bad. And Desperou
Yeah.
usually makes it tolerable.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do a shorter video. I tried to do a shorter video. It came out to about 20 minutes, and I'm just tired of editing it, so I'm not going to try and shorten it. But yeah, look, this one deserves it. This one just, we've had enough of this. I just feel like my goal is just to pile on. This show deserves to be humiliated. You know what's bizarre? This is the thing that gets me about it. This is why I get so irritated with Disney. It's because in like 10, 15 years ago, if you produce content like this, you'd be a laughingstock in the industry. People would be like, "Oh my God, you were attached to that project? Get out of my office!" Like, what? There's no shame in Hollywood anymore. They
What
just make
was
this
that director name, Captain? Where if somebody goes, "Look, this movie's so bad, I don't want my name attached," and they got to go through a process. There's that one name that's attached to films that are bad because the director did not want to be in the credits. You remember what it was?
I don't even think he'll get a raspberry.
I don't remember. You're not wrong, Mariosphere. You're not wrong. It is bizarre. It is so bizarre that, like, Leslie Headland avoided the Me Too Eye of Sauron somehow. And she just got a pass. She doesn't have to answer any questions. She gets a show. She gets to do whatever the hell she wants. It's bizarre.
I don't know. Every time I turn on anything and somebody brings her up, they're mentioning who she worked for and what she likely did.
That's because, in our corner of the internet we will, but like the mainstream.
That's true. I guess we do kind of end up in bubbles without realizing it.
I'm not in a bubble. I know exactly what the shills think. I know exactly. I know exactly how the Access Media thinks. They don't know how we think. That's the difference.
But I've seen folks that don't get into the whole political side of everything being shoehorned in there, that are coming out and even mentioning, "Hey, remember who this chick is." So it's catching on a little bit beyond just the culture warrior sphere. So
Well, hold up. There's a lot of people who also just don't know who she is in general.
yeah, most normies don't know anybody behind the scenes. And when we talk about
That's true.
when we talk about Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, most just a regular not like the nerd fans like we are, but just regular dude who enjoys Star Trek or Star Wars and some sci-fi. They don't know these names at all. They don't know anything about them. If you walked up to them and said, "Hey, what do you think of Jon Favreau?" They'd be like, "Who?" They're not going to know. So
South Park is what made Kathleen Kennedy known.
yeah.
Good point.
Nobody knew who she was until South Park did their special.
Now they even know the formula.
Yeah, I know, right? It made them aware of the
Put a kick in it, make her gay!
That's the thing, though, is like this is why there's all these weird like shills and articles that are always attacking the fans and stuff, because they have turned entertainment into a political battleground. They've made the decision that anything we call a classic story is somehow wrong, it's evil, there was no diversity in it, even though it's like there's tons of diversity. There's always been like strong women in Star Wars. There's always been those things. Like, it's only like as if now they suddenly woke up and decided that there's something wrong with Superman being truth, justice, and the American way, and like helping people. There's something, and it's no trouble for him to do it. That's the other thing. It's no trouble.
Yeah,
He
that
likes
bugged
doing
me,
it.
that movie. If not this recent Snyder verse, but before that, when they said truth, justice, all that stuff.
Yeah, that was the
Instead of
Brandon Routh one, Superman Returns. Yeah, they
yeah,
won't say
but
it.
when I heard that line, I cringed. I'm like, do we really have to erase ourselves from something that comes from our own culture? Come on.
Apparently.
Yeah, Superman Returns was just bad.
I tried to cover Rings of Power, and I got down to the last, I think it was the second to the last episode or somewhere around in there, and it's like, I think I watched it at least twice and I don't even remember what happened.
You know, I see that all this criticism of like the Acolyte and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and all these things. I see it as the only accountability for these wackos that exists. These are wackos that are running all this stuff, and it's like the media protects them. Their little access shills protect them.
That's because they're owned by Disney.
Yeah, like they're protected.
If
It's
you
like
look up,
it's accountability. No, that was all I was saying.
Up is
no,
down
no,
and
I
down
didn't.
is up.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, Star Fury said Alan Smithy is the director name change when people want to be associated with a film. You'll see directed by Alan Smithy.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Interesting.
Now,
Guilty
what were you saying,
Gearhead says
Monty?
background music. I like it. Guilty, that is from Chill Kid. The song is called Venting O2 into Space. I'm trying to remember. It's either off his Sounds Bad on Paper album or Sound. I can't remember which album. I'm sorry. The other one I was playing earlier was from his album Try Hard. It was called Do It Yourself, which is my current favorite from him. In fact, I'll switch it back over to that after this one leaps through. Maji, you were going to say something a moment ago, weren't you?
Yeah, but I kind of forgot what it was and felt bad for interrupting Garrett.
How did
No,
Hedlund get a
I
meeting
need
to
the
pitch
Captain
Kennedy
to
when
learn to
Disney
wrap
had
this in
stopped taking pitches for Star Wars? Hedlund has dirt. Probably.
They know where the bodies
For
are buried.
sure.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of it too is just corporate inertia. Like they're not capable of. There's no such thing as vision at Disney. Nobody has vision. Like the reason Godzilla -1 is what it is because Takashi Yamazaki had a brilliant vision, a brilliant script. He carried it all the way to the end. He lovingly crafted it. He was there at every step of the way. He helped with the special effects himself. He supervised the effects. I can tell you, the English dub on Netflix of Godzilla -1 is a joke. They rewrite so many of the most beautiful, heartfelt lines. They rewrite them and they make them bland. They make them sanitized. Do not watch the English dub. It's crap. And it's like, look at just the touch of these people on something brilliant ruins it. It's unbelievable to me how Western art has been destroyed. It's just so bad.
Well, it's because
Yeah.
their localizers still want to shove their ideas into it.
Yeah, but here's the
I
good
mean-
thing: we don't have to buy the dub version; just buy the sub
Yes.
version. There you
I
go.
mean, I
If
worry
it
though,
ever
'cause
comes out.
I worry that they'll rewrite the subtitles because I just realized like it's been months since it was in theaters and I
Wait.
memorized several of the lines by
Wait.
heart because
Why would
in
they
the-
rewrite the subtitles? Because they just have to port it over because it was already subbed at theater.
I'm just saying I hope
They
they
would.
didn't. I just wouldn't put it past them.
Remember, their politics is a core belief to a lot of these crazies.
Wait, who's publishing it? On physical?
That's just it. Nobody owns the copyright yet for the US. That's why it hasn't been released in physical copy yet. Netflix bought the streaming rights for it, but it sounds like they've already altered it.
Well, the English dub. I mean, I don't know if it's Netflix specifically, but it's whoever was in charge of writing the dialogue for the American actors. I'll tell you that the best line in the film is the final line in the film when Shkishkima, finds Noriko in the hospital. She says, "Is your war finally over?" And it's like that line is directly connected to the fact that he wouldn't allow himself to live or have happiness or any of those things because he viewed himself as a coward. He viewed himself as a failure and unable to protect his family. And that line is her saying, "Can you rest now?" Right? They rewrote that in the dub version to, it was just it was more wordy. It was more verbose. It was something along the lines of like, can you finally say that your war is done? Can it be done now? And it was almost like she was annoyed. She's like, "Can you stop playing at war?" is kind of the attitude behind it. And it's awful. It strips it of all the feeling, of all the soul. I mean, that line in the theater, I mean, it just every time it killed me. Just every time. It just was so deeply moving. because of the meaning behind it, and the performances are not good in the English dub either. It's cartoonish. I don't like it at all. So,
Does it come across sounding more like it's an anime?
no, I mean, well, I think that's just the Japanese style is kind of sounds kind of like anime, unsurprisingly. I think what it was is just bad performances, like the actress who voiced Noriko, the actress who voiced his neighbor were not good. The one that did Kishkima was okay.
No, I have a feeling it was sabotaged on purpose because Hollywood's been at war against Japanese film and animation for basically the last 5 years. Then all of a sudden you got a Japanese film with under $15 million budget gone and won an Academy, which is their golden goose. And it wasn't diverse. It wasn't anything like that. It didn't follow any of their checkpoints. I have wonder if it was sabotaged on purpose.
Yeah, agree, Maji-chan, and big agree, Star Fury. It's a flawless, perfectly worded line. It requires no changes. Star Fury, they turned that line, "Is your war finally over?" into 2 lines. They turned it into 2. I was so angry. I yelled out at the screen. I'm like, that's not the line. Oh, I was so mad. Yeah, but that's the thing is that movie cannot be made in America. Godzilla -1 cannot be made. You can't make it for that budget. You can't make it with that vision. It can't be about that subject matter. It can't have that soulfulness to it. It couldn't have any of those things in an
Correct me
American.
if I'm wrong. Also, the director was doing the CGI in the movie.
Yeah, because he himself
Half
is a
of it was
special
volunteered.
effects guy. He's a VFX guy. That's how he came up. So he was doing a lot of the effects himself personally. But he had a team, and he supervised all of them.
Just made me think of Independence Day when Pullman says, "I'm a fighter pilot. I belong in the air."
I belong in the air. Good morning.
My dad used to give me so much shit because as a kid I remember that Independence Day speech and would just randomly start speaking it in random places.
It's good. You know what, Maji-chan? If you compare it to the Gettysburg Address, which is a very short presidential speech, it's about the same length. It's about the same length as the Gettysburg Address.
I
But-
believe that.
Fighter jets.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
But no, I honestly think the Godzilla put on Netflix was to sabotage it to make it seem less of what the movie than it was.
Okay, let me.
When
give you
I
an
heard it was
example.
on Netflix with
Go ahead.
no, but what? Oh, sorry. But when I heard it was on Netflix English voiceover, I'm like, that wasn't in the theaters like that.
No.
Yeah, I thought it was in. I thought
No,
it
it
was
wasn't.
coming out with DVD, Blu-ray. Because I was gonna buy it because I watched it in the theaters when it came out.
It came out on Blu-ray on May 1st for Japan, but it but the Japanese edition doesn't have the English subtitles. And they haven't announced a release date for the US, which tells me one of 2 things. They're trying to keep it from coming to the US or they're sabotaging it with the voiceover and changing it.
You know, there's something about Godzilla -1 too that sets it apart because Shin Godzilla is kind of a horror film, but the thing about Godzilla -1 is it's beautiful. It's a beautiful film, and one of the things that the modern politics of the West hate is the pursuit and the veneration of beauty. It hates the sacred, and it hates romance. Like there's no romance in.
They really
Western-
do.
Like Furiosa, I liked Furiosa a lot, but I could not believe that there's just an obvious, really, really perfect kind of romance that's developing between her and Praetorian Jack, who's this road warrior that's training her to be able to like survive and escape. And they have a great like friendship that turns into kind of a relationship. But the movie won't go there. Like it just has her, they kind of touch foreheads and say their goodbyes, and that's it. And I'm like, why are we going back to like the 50s where the married couple had to be in like separate twin beds and we can't have romance, we can't have humans being human? Like, why is that? It's weird. Anyway, gotta go to the east
Because
for
it
that.
goes against
Not
the
allowed.
message.
Yeah, I mean, but why does the message mean that humans have to like abandon all feeling? You know, it's like we're living in that Christian Bale movie.
Because
'Cause
a
it's a
woman
death
don't
cult.
know man. That's exactly why.
It's the metahuman thing where it's just a bodysuit, and you can just switch between different bodysuits. Each person is the same.
Star Trek,
hate it.
you know, Star Trek was about love of life. Like the original 5 series were about loving life. And every episode, and there's lots of scary episodes of Star Trek. There's lots of dark episodes of Star Trek. There's lots of loss and things like, and danger in Star Trek. But in between all that were things like Data learning to dance. And like, you know, Counselor Troy and Worf kind of having a fling. And, you know, just, there were, you know, poetry readings and drama and people having fun on the holodeck. Every Starfleet captain, from Kirk to Archer, loved life and loved living. And even though they were willing to face danger, they weren't going to willingly give up their lives or the lives of their crew. They were going to fight. They were going to accept death if it came, but they wanted to live. They loved living. And I find that lacking. And that's kind of what struck me about -1, is that, like, this is a movie about life. It's a movie about loving being alive. That's rare in Western filmmaking anymore. And when we get it, it just makes $1 billion. You know, it's like when we get that fun, joy, life. I think Deadpool and Wolverine's going to crush it. I think it's going to blow the doors off because it's going to be about having fun.
They stuck so much of that Loki TDA bullshit and other stuff into it.
Yeah.
I see it
don't think it's going to be a big part of it. I don't.
So potential spoil.
I have no idea what you said, Wrangler.
What's that,
I
Wrangler?
said there's some
Robot.
potential spoilers. That's all we got.
I
Potential
think his
spoilers.
Wi-Fi is going.
Am I back?
The only way I watch Deadpool and Wolverine is when someone else buys it on DVD.
Yeah, but the rumor is that the TVA agent that recruits Deadpool is the actual bad guy, and he's actually got a faction of TVA agents who are going against the new setup that was established in Loki.
Equilibrium. That's the movie, Evelyn. Thank you. At Star Fury said Gun Fu. Yeah, that was cool.
Are you talking about the other movie where Sean Bean dies? He dies because he found a puppy.
What? Sean Bean dies in every movie. You'll have to be more specific.
It's like Aeon Flux. She dies at the end of every episode.
He dies because he finds a puppy.
Was that in Equilibrium? It's been like years since I watched that. I only watched it like one time, but I do
Yeah, because it's
remember.
supposed to be that they don't have any emotions and they outline books and dogs and all that shit. And what wakes him up is he finds a lost puppy.
Dude, if you can't love a puppy, you're just, you know, well, you're Dr. Fauci.
Ouch.
You're just
How can I don't understand how a human being can do that. Now, is this confirmed or is it just an allegation?
No, it's
he
confirmed.
Did. He did. He absolutely did. I don't want to. We probably shouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to get. I don't know what the. I probably shouldn't mention that on streams this year.
Well,
that's probably.
I mean, we're not going to talk about it because it's too depressing.
Well, yeah.
No, but I just think like, you know, I really loved how they did John Wick. You know, I always thought that first movie I would never watch it because I just thought Keanu Reeves is an action. I don't think so. He's just Keanu. I don't. And then I watched it and I was like, damn, that was such a good movie. And what I love about it is like, you know, I never like to see the death of a dog in a movie, but that was done in such a meaningful way that it felt really good when he you know, he gets to the bad guys, the mob boss's son, and he's just like, what's the big deal? It was just an effing... And right then, John Wick just blows him away. It's fantastic. I love that part.
I like how in Deadpool opening credits it says, done by the asshole that killed John Wick's dog.
That's hilarious.
I forgot what manga or whatever anime that Otter was watching where the creator of it, to make his villains evil, he just has them like kill a dog burn an orphanage and all this other shit.
Oh,
The
the
perfect way to
AK
make you just hate a villain.
the AK-50 video had a bunch of jokes in it, similar to that, where like completed by autism or something.
The what?
The
Completed by
AK-50. So the AK guy, Brandon Herrera,
Yeah.
finally completed his AK-50, and they did a really nice, beautifully done intro to the video and stuff. And it was kind of like some of the comic book movies where you know it's the Deadpool movies where they've got the silly stuff like that. And one of the comments is something about autism.
Yeah, if it says something like completed with autism, a lot of times there's like a tunnel vision where you just laser in focus and you don't do anything else.
Well, I also like watching his the Darwin videos, just because the wild.
Yeah.
I used to love that show, 1,000 Ways to Die. If anyone's ever seen that one.
The what one?
1,000 Ways to Die. Has anyone ever seen
I
that?
missed
It was
that
an old
show.
show.
1,000 Ways to Die in
On
the
Spike TV, right?
It was that's it. It was Spike TV, and it was just a dramatized. Thing
Oh,
about
I know
dumb
what
ways
show
people
you're
died.
talking about. The
I
episode
always
I
found it
remember
funny
from
that the girls were always skimpy.
the episode I remember from that is dude falls in love with a cow and he fucks the heart with a battery and it kills him or some shit. That was the one episode.
I think one of my favorites was this chick that she gets Botox, right? But she got it from like a bad doctor who like injected it too deep, and it paralyzes you. And so she goes home to relax in her hot tub, but then the the botulism they inject you with starts sinking in, and she gets paralyzed, and she slowly sinks into the spa. It was that show is filled with all kinds of bizarre, weird, kind of like tongue-in-cheek. Like, I don't know if any of that was real. I just remember.
Oh, it was definitely all bullshit. Like,
yeah, it
most
was like
of
they would just make up like urban legends about how people died. Is basically what that
Yeah.
show was.
It was like the
Raven, Star Fury knew what you were talking about. You have to be autistic to make a 50 cal AK.
It's
Yeah,
also like the show.
Took him like what, 8 years?
Also, Starfear had another great point. That quote, "I once saw him kill 3 men with a pencil. Who can do that?"
It's
so
like the show Fact or Fiction. If y'all remember that, had dude from TNG, the host.
Yes, Jonathan Frakes. That was Commander Riker who hosted that show.
It's on Roku
Yes.
channel, actually. You can still watch the Fact or Fiction. Some of them are freaking hard to tell.
Who used that? I think it was it last week or the week before? We saw it in on Comic Shop Wednesday. Somebody took clips from that show, put his book in there, and says he's based. This is based, and then it showed something from Disney, and Frakes is looking at the camera, going, "Not so much." It's just clever editing. It was hilarious. It was just this montage of Jonathan Frakes saying all these books are based.
Oh, see, Raven, you were messing up the joke. Now I get what's
Good night, Emily.
You have to be
Same.
autistic to make a 50 cal.
Have a good night, Star Fury.
Yes, good night, Starfear.
Have you watched the episode, Raven,
It's not-
where the dude was shooting the lawnmower with tannerite and the fucking blade just cuts his leg off?
I don't think so.
Was that one of the Darwin Awards?
Yeah.
I probably saw that one. I remember seeing a microwave one that blew up and the guy was way too close.
Was that the black dude?
I don't
With the
remember.
black
There's
dude?
a whole bunch of different ones.
It went right through his mouth, little piece of it.
You know what we should do? We should one of these weekly wingnets. We should gather all the old 5-pound Haro Bear gummy sugar-free reviews and just read them.
Yeah, but I
See
got
if we
one
can
better. I got a
remember some
video.
face.
I got a video. He's one of like the food challenge eaters, and he ate like a whole bag of that. And the rest of the video is him just shitting over it.
I don't want to watch that.
Yeah, but it was so fucking hilarious. It's an older video as well.
Completely detached from the current conversation, but while we have the captain here, I've been meaning to ask you: is Bainbridge an actual historical figure, or is he a created character?
Yes, he is. No, he's real, and so is Pierre Lafitte, by the way. Pierre Lafitte is real. He was one of the Lafitte brothers that actually helped Andrew Jackson in the War of 1812. And Bainbridge was real. The Philadelphia is real. Commodore Preble is a real historical figure. The rulers of the Barbary states that I mentioned in the book are real historical figures. And I based as much of what they do in the books on what I know of them. So
From actual case histories and reports?
yeah, like the Bey that John encounters in the book, Bey Hamuda, like I based some of his lines are actually from literal history. And then Bainbridge actually has there's one scene in the book that actually did happen historically. It's the scene where I don't know if you've read it yet, but there's a sailor who falls asleep on deck, and he gets one of the midshipman brats is running around because Bainbridge kind of let them run wild, and he threw water in the face of the sleeping marine, or not the marine, but the sleeping sailor. Sailor wakes up and starts, yells a bunch of curses because he figures it's one of his mates just screwing with him. Then he sees that it's this kid, because back then you could be 12 years old and be an officer in training. He sees it's a midshipman, and he's already said a bunch of cuss words, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he tries to back off it. And what Bainbridge does next is exactly what happened historically. I took the quote from actual history.
Wasn't that? I think that was right before he let Mel know who she actually was.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the John and his friends are fictional, obviously, but they're sort of bearing witness to real events, but I kind of weave in things they can do, And the way I look at it is maybe this was someone who slipped through the cracks of history, is how I kind of sort of write it.
Yeah, it's kind of like this is a little bit of an odd comparison, but I considered it similar to watching Dark Skies. I don't know if you ever saw that show.
I think
back in the 90s. It was really cool alien show. J.T. Walsh was one of the main characters. He was the main antagonist. But it was all about the gray aliens, and they wove in actual media footage from back then with events happening and the conspiracy theories together, and it was like an alternate history that looked like it did not deviate from ours at all. It was really cool how they did it. And what you were doing there kind of reminded me of that. It's like, I think some of these captains, I think a lot of these people in here were actual figures, but I don't know which ones are which. And a lot of them are also your own original characters. And by the way, I'm just waiting for, what's his name? Pavia?
Oh, Pavia? Yeah.
Yeah, Pavia. I know he has no business showing up where the book left off. I know there's no earthly way he would actually be over there. But I just kept imagining him busting in last minute to save the day with a big old grin on his face. Because he's that kind of character, but he's not. Obviously, there's no realistic way for him to be there that I know of.
I suppose it only contributes to my disdain for something like The Acolyte, because I remember how hard it was to want to put something in the story, but it wouldn't work with the plot or the characters. It wouldn't fit, because if this situation happened, the characters would do something. Yeah, because characters that are properly written, you kind of lose control of them a little bit as an author, because they will do what they're going to do, and so you kind of have to work around that. And so the idea, I may want Pavia to just bust in like the Kool-Aid Man and show up and do some damage, but I'd have to justify it.
It wouldn't make sense, unfortunately.
It'd have to be really, there'd have to be a good reason. You wouldn't believe all the crazy stuff I had on whiteboards about, okay, John was here at this time. This is when he met so-and-so. That means that during these years he was over here, and that means that the bad guy had to have been doing this at this time. I mean, I can tell you everything the bad guy was doing while John was, in America, while he's there. And then I watch something like Acolyte, and I'm like, they haven't done any of this work. And I'm like, what am I doing over here? Busting my ass for no reason?
Yeah, there are other characters, when they're not in scene, they probably imagine them standing off to the side like this.
It's incredible because like it was hard writing a story set in the early 19th century because there's no remote communications. The travel is very slow. How do you get because it's an adventure movie. Like it's it's an adventure movie basically. It's like Count of Monte Cristo. How do I get characters where they need to go?
Wait, Garrett. I know how
That's
to do
hard.
It. Garrett, I know how to do it. Commercial break in your book.
You know what's funny is like that show 24 with Jack Bauer. That was I heard Drinker is actually working with John Cassar, who was one of the producers on that for his mini movie, his short.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he did an interview on I don't know if it was for members only or what, but on his channel he did an interview with John Cassar, and he got him just talking about 24, and it was glorious. He said that the plan on that show was every season was going to be an anthology story, and it was going to be just a totally different story. So, like, season 2, instead of a counter-terrorist unit, it was going to be like an ER doctor or something. But because the first season was so popular, they just decided to keep going with the terrorism thing. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Because that sounds like a terrible idea to go to, like...
Suddenly going to General Hospital is just not going to be all that fun.
But they said that, like... They basically never even got a break because the minute they finished one season, they'd have to start writing the next one. And they said sometimes because it was just so many episodes and so short a time that like they wouldn't know what was going to happen at the end of the season or how Jack was going to like be where he needed to be. And I'm like, I cannot believe that because almost every season of that show lands almost perfectly where it needs to land for it to end correctly. And I can't believe they did that by the seat of their pants. I'm like, that is talent, man. That's incredible talent.
That's
the MCU used to have that kind of talent.
It did. It did.
Because a lot of the earlier projects, the movies that we look back and go, that was awesome at the time. We look back and we still like those movies before they went to crap. A lot of them, from what I understand, they were in crunch time and pulled some of it out of their ass at last minute. Which sounds very uncomfortable, but they somehow did it.
They were also more like reasonable too. They didn't do like these over-the-top, interconnected, multi-dimensional crap. It was just like, okay, here's a little hint of what's going to come.
You know, I have no problem with them going multi-dimensional, cosmic crap. That's actually fun for me. Problem is, they don't know how to de-escalate. You go big and bombastic, follow it up with a story that's just as adventurous but much more personal. So bring it down to a street level.
Yeah. Well, the comic books actually went through all of that stuff, and it's like if they had just looked and saw what the comic books did, they could probably fix some of the issues.
But that's what happens when you have people that hate the source material and tell their writers to not reference it.
Yep. Yeah, they're low IQ people. They're low IQ people. Some of like the Marvel
pride themselves in not knowing.
I mean, partially, I think it's because we're not going to follow that arc that way. We already have it set up, and they're given a whole bunch of notes on what beats they have to hit. But still, reference it so you know the tone, the personality, the context to just the whole vibe of the character, at least, you know?
Yeah, it's, I think part of it is They went from building something piece by piece to expecting something, which is like, oh, great, this is a cash cow. Let's just let's flood the zone. More shows, more movies, more this, more that. It's like, and then when it wasn't working, it's like you've noticed, look how hard it is for them just to slow down. They should stop everything. They should. I loved what the Drinker said because they asked him, like, what would you do if you were suddenly put in charge of, like, Disney Lucasfilm? He's like, I would be like the Grim Reaper with a sickle going through that office, and I would fire everyone I could lay eyes on and just burn it all down and start over. And I was like, exactly. That and Marvel, same deal. It's like, stop everything. Stop absolutely all projects. Everything is on ice until we figure out how we can tell a meaningful story again.
Honestly, I think it needs to be like the Spider-Man movies where it had the Tobey Maguire series and then a couple-year break before the Andrew Garfield series.
Yeah, I mean, I quite love Phase 1 through 3 of Marvel. I think it was a gift. It was a beautiful thing. There's never been a cinematic achievement like it. There probably never will be again.
Well,
I'm grateful for all of
one
that.
One of my favorite movies. I think it's
which
really
one,
good.
Billy?
Infinity War.
Everyone loves Infinity War. That's actually not like one of my favorites. I don't know why. I don't like Captain America in it. I prefer Endgame to Infinity War.
I have problems with it, but overall, I'm just gotta be honest. I like it. In game, I really don't like.
I mean, it was great.
I can't watch Endgame. That forced friggin' woman warrior scene.
It was
that pissed me off. I was offended.
In the theater, I was cringing, and I remember this is before the dark times were really in full swing, and I remember hearing a couple of groans in the theater, like, "What? What is this?"
Well, I'm gonna
this
be
is
honest.
what I mean. Like, they were there already. Why do you have to like make a big deal out of it? They're there. They're in the movie. Why do you need to do this?
And they were badass in their roles. Like Pepper, man, she could hold her own in the Iron Man trilogy.
I'll be honest with you. I found her in the Iron Man whatever the fuck outfit, cringe as fuck as well. That scene.
Oh yeah, no, that outfit didn't fit her, but her personality in the story, you knew she ran that place better than Tony did.
And that's because Tony's personality is what it is. Like, he doesn't like to run things. He likes to build
He
things.
wants to be in the sandbox.
Well, he doesn't like to be handed things either.
I love that. I don't take things that are handed to me. That's so funny.
Did they ever keep that detail throughout the rest? I don't remember.
I think so, because they reference it in it. I know they reference it in the Avengers film when Coulson tries to hand him the file. He won't take it, and I think they reference it once or twice again.
One thing that made me mad though was Iron Man 3. He went through this whole development arc, and then they threw it out for Ultron.
But I hate it.
No, that was after Ultron, wasn't it? Or no, it wasn't. That was. It was
before.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Civil Wars where they threw it out.
I don't
Which,
think so,
which
because
part?
Tony Stark.
What aspect did they throw out? Are you talking about?
It is a mistake.
Tony Stark kind of goes back on that a little, because he says after in Endgame he kind of chews out Cap and says like, hey, back when you were chewing me out about a suit of armor around the world, well, look what happened, without one. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good little moment for Iron Man to kind of like rub it in, like, hey, this is why I tried Ultron, asshole.
Do you know which Avenger was the best Avenger?
I also still agree that it should have been a timeline reset after Endgame.
They shouldn't have made the expansion after Endgame, period.
Well, I think they needed it. I mean, they just got X-Men and everything, and I think restarting and then...
Or at least letting it rest a bit.
Yeah.
That would have been a great time for a break.
Nothing after Endgame has been good. Except for maybe Guardians of the Galaxy, but even then it got preaching on...
Spider-Man, I heard, was enjoyable. I still haven't seen it.
Not
Because I didn't want to, I just hadn't gotten around to it.
No Way Home is fantastic. Like, I think you should watch all the Tobey Maguire films and the Andrew Garfield films, and then watch that movie.
I did watch the clip of Andrew's big scene, and I'll admit to even getting a little misty-eyed over that one. I thought that was beautifully done.
It's better than even that. You got to watch it, because, like, dude, Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin he is in his final form in that movie. It's so good.
Do you think Cap could take Green Goblin?
Green Goblin is deadly. I mean, really, Spider-Man's most dangerous foe, other than Venom, is fully Green Goblin. Because Norman Osborn is a genius. Norman Osborn is very smart, and
he's evil Tony Stark.
I think
Cap could take him, but like it would be a tough fight because Green Goblin is very dangerous.
Keep in mind, Frequency, that Green Goblin is basically Captain America. He's enhanced with the...
Yeah, I mean, you know how strong Spidey actually is when he's... And imagine if he decides not to hold back. Well, he wasn't holding back. I saw clips. When he was wailing on Osborn's face there in that scene, he was not holding back. And Osborn was just laughing. And laughing.
That scene's brilliant. Green
that
Goblin
chilled me to the bones.
Me too. That's all Willem Dafoe, man. He was scary in that scene, and I loved it. I wasn't prepared for it either. I was like, holy shit. That's how the Green Goblin is supposed to be. Like, in the comics, that's what he is. He is a deadly, menacing villain. He's like the Joker is to Batman. You know, that's kind of what the Green Goblin is to Peter Parker. He's a very personal enemy because he's Norman Osborn and he's Peter's friends with Harry. So that's always
he's
been a big
Harry's
part of
dad,
it.
so it's gonna
And
gonna
Willem
hurt.
Dafoe, like Sam Raimi nailed it in that first film. Like that is exactly how the Green Goblin is in the comics and in the animated show. Like that's how he is. He's got multiple personalities. He's psycho, he's crazy, but he's also a genius. He kind of cares about Peter on one hand, but on the other he wants to destroy him. It's
Well, you
great.
know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
I know. I'm something of a scientist myself. Yeah, that's so good.
well, I'm something
Oh.
of a nerd myself.
What was the meme I saw? I think Otter posted it where it was Willem Dafoe from Spider-Man, and he's like, the company's on June 1st. Well, I'm something of a homosexual myself.
Oh, dude, you know what's
Yeah, I saw that one.
Has anyone seen the parody scary no superhero movie?
No,
It's
I
like
haven't
one
even heard of
those-
it.
You gotta go watch it. It's a parody of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, but also a lot of other films in that era, you know? And there's a really great scene. There's a really great scene when he comes home and he's just got his powers, but Leslie Nielsen plays his uncle, right? So he comes home and Leslie Nielsen is working with a nail gun, and he's got his grandson's. Oh, it's his grandfather. That's right. He's got his grandson's friend helping him. And he gets startled when the guy the superhero, I forget the name of the guy, but the superhero walks in the door and he accidentally shoots him with the nail, right? And he catches the nail. And he's like, whoa. Leslie Nielsen says, how did you do that? He's like, oh, it's not that hard. So then Leslie Nielsen turns the nail gun on his buddy and shoots him. And he's like, oh. No, I don't think you're right about that.
Leslie Nielsen was awesome.
It's hilarious. That's a great movie. It's pretty stupid though. I will forewarn you.
I can watch that third Spider-Man movie. I just haven't yet.
Oh, okay? So you know the scene in the first Tobey movie when Willem Dafoe figures out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man at the Thanksgiving dinner, and he's like, "I have to leave. Something has come to my attention," and he walks out. Right? Well, they recreate that scene in Superhero, but it's the guy who played Shooter McGavin is basically the kind of Norman Osborn character, and he's sitting at the table, and he realizes that his enemy is at the table with him, and he's like, I have to leave. Something has come to my attention. And they're like, really? So soon? Why do you have to leave? He's like, it's very urgent. I have to go. Well, geez, we went to all this trouble to make this great meal. Can't you at least give us a reason? And he kind of like looks for an excuse. And he's like, I shat my pants. And everyone kind of looks around. And it's like, that's the excuse you chose. As I said, it's a dumb movie. But it's
Well, to be fair, that is a good excuse.
I know. It's like, I shat my pants.
Embarrassing.
Oh, that's a good way to shut them all up.
I know that nobody's.
What? No follow-up questions? Can I go
so
now?
Funny too, because it's the it's the Shooter McGavin actor. 'Cause he's so good at that.
That's why, because of that movie, is why I say the only way you'll ever get me to watch an It movie is if it has Adam Sandler in there, because that scene at the miniature golf course where he's like, "You're gonna die, clown." I want to send
Also,
that version of Happy Gilmore after Pennywise.
They set up the romance between like Black Widow and the Hulk, but never like followed through on it. As well.
Yeah, well, it was an idea they started with, and they realized, this isn't taking off. It's more of a joke than anything, and they backed off of it. That was back when they still paid attention to their actual audience reaction.
I don't remember anyone having a real big problem with it.
She was also suing them by the negligence of her how they released her movie, I believe.
No, that was before all that.
That was before that.
Oh, okay.
Because they made the
Black Widow came out during COVID. That's when she sued them. Was right during that fiasco.
People wanted a Black Widow movie, and then they waited until after Endgame when her character's fucking dead to make
Well, the
one.
Black Widow movie's bad. Don't
Yeah,
watch
it is,
this.
it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold up, let's be honest. It would have
Hey,
been
Fu
good
Man
if it came
Blue.
out.
Fu Man's in the
It's
chat.
not even a Black Widow movie. It's her sister's movie.
Right.
That movie
Well,
was
'cause
shit.
every,
I
Marvel
turned it
movie
on
is like-
and I turned it off after 20 minutes. I couldn't take it anymore. I was like,
Well,
this movie
worse,
is
they
bad.
wasted such a good actor because he played the villain. But I mean, this was the same guy from Logan that was the bad guy, and it wasn't even like it was the same person.
That's because every Marvel movie after Endgame is a bait and switch for another character.
Yeah. Now,
They even had a freaking Russian Captain America.
Well,
that guy I actually liked, but he was very competent at the beginning of the movie, and then later on when they brought him back, he was like this. They just turned him into. They went from super soldier badass to lovable doofus with super durability, and that's about it. It was kind of
All right.
annoying.
What?
Because he
movie-
was a likable character, but they just dumbed him down the longer the movie went on.
What Marvel movie do you think they would use to torture, like, for information on people?
The
Marvels. I've seen it.
You think the Marvels is the worst
Yeah.
one?
No,
the movies.
Eternals.
I've never seen the Eternals, but I'm telling you, I can't imagine
Don't.
almost anything being worse than the Marvels. It's so bad.
I haven't seen the Marvels, but the Marvels actually looks like a shitload of fun compared to what I sat through in Eternals.
It's really not though, like because like I saw Madam Web, and that actually is kind of fun. There's a scene where because she has no powers, so there's a scene where to beat the super powered bad guy, she drives an ambulance through a building and like runs him over with an ambulance. And just the imagery of that is so fun.
That is a little ironic there.
It's really. And by the way, it's an ambulance she stole. From a scene where there are EMTs on the scene trying to help someone, she stole their ambulance. It's so
Evelyn,
funny.
thanks for joining us, man. You have a good sleep.
All right, Evelyn, have a good one. Yeah, so that one is actually kind of enjoyable. Marvel's is not. Marvel's is it's like getting your teeth drilled. It's awful.
Yeah, like
Echo
I
is
said,
shit.
I have not seen it, so I don't know.
Which one is Marvel?
All I know is
that nothing makes sense.
I think Secret Invasion is the worst
I like
thing they've
Iman
ever done.
Vellani's on-screen performances, so I imagine that's got to at least make it somewhat worth watching.
Is Marvel's a pretty
not
new
really.
one?
I even see her interviewed. She actually goes on New Rock Stars every once in a while and chats with them, and she seems pretty cool. It's like,
No, she's classy, and her character in the film. I mean, there's potential there because she's a Peter Parker
it's
kind
her
of character.
personality though that's making it worthwhile.
Annoying as hell.
What's that? Mozzie?
She's annoying as hell.
Yeah, no, she's annoying. She's not that, but when you're getting your teeth drilled and there's a kind of pleasant person being kind of annoying, it takes your mind off it for a while. That's kind of what she was like in that movie. It's
Is
like a
she
distraction.
annoying, or is it the character and the writing of the stories bad? Like,
I think it's the writers. I watched her show. She was the only thing worth watching on there because the writing all sucked. But the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, if they gave her a good script, she could actually make this character the big deal Marvel wanted her to be.
Keep in mind that they're shot at
Yeah.
Bollywood. Nobody could understand regular speaking, so they had to sing. I was so
Oh.
happy when that planet
Oh my
got
God.
destroyed.
Oh, don't! Oh no!
Wait, what?
That was the. I skipped a lot of it because I watched it in a theater and certainly did not go surfing or sailing on the high seas. to
That
get it.
sounds like a Joss Whedon script minus the intelligence that he brings to his writing.
Is the Marvels the one with the 3 women?
Yes.
Okay,
But
yeah, I haven't
I
seen
think-
that.
I think the worst thing MCU has done, like the worst thing to me, is Secret Invasion. I think it's the worst. It's depressing. It's dismal.
Oh.
It's awful. It's gross. It's just like you literally every scene with Nick Fury is somebody telling him what a piece of shit he is. It's awful. It wrecks all the lore because everything you saw in the first 3 phases could have been Skrulls. Everything with S.H.I.E.L.D. was not built by Nick Fury. It was built by Skrulls. And the most powerful being in all of the universe is Emilia Clarke. Because she has all the powers. She has Captain Marvel's powers plus all the other powers.
What?
It's the way, and it's awful. It's depressing.
Okay.
They did the Super Scroll thing, except with all the powers.
Yeah,
Wait,
she
he's
well
gay
she
as well, isn't he?
who
Turned
Nick Fury?
gay. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
but
'cause
he
the Skrull
does.
was a man. That was his wife.
No, it's a female scroll. But they are definitely drawing an allegory to like because there's this whole thing of how she's been living in human form. He knows she's a scroll, but she's been living in human form for all these years, and there's this whole stupid B plot about how she's always secretly wanted to just be herself and show him her true body, but she's afraid he'll reject who she really is. And so
Yeah,
the
'cause she's
final
got a
shot of the show is like him kissing a scroll, and it's like you know exactly the allegory they're drawing there.
Yeah. Did you ever see Moon Knight?
No.
No.
I didn't have
Wait,
my
what's-
YouTube channel up and running back then, so I skipped a lot of that. So the stuff I've seen is because of my channel. That's the only reason.
Wait, what is
'cause
the
I've
worst
skipped a whole
Marvel
bunch of 'em.
show then?
What's the worst Marvel show?
Mhm.
Well, I think it's Secret Invasion, but I will say Echo is probably the worst written. Well, that's tough because Secret Invasion is written like shit, but I would say that probably Echo is the worst written, but it's got that charming Madam Web quality of like nothing quite compares to seeing Kingpin's guys literally show up in an a roller skating rink and demand to know where the prisoners they're looking for are. They're in the storeroom, by the way. They're just in the storeroom. Rather than search the property, the Kingpin's guys just sort of mill around the roller skating rink demanding answers. It's like you got to see it. It's unbelievable how stupid it is.
They didn't get it bad enough at the ice skating rink. Now they had to redo it in a roller skating
I
rink.
got one worse for you. Argyle.
Oh my god, I watched 10 minutes. I couldn't take it.
I was so excited for that movie, and then I wanted to stab myself and walk out the theater.
Evening, AC Pritchard. Made it just in time. We're going to be wrapping up shortly, but good to see you.
Evening,
I'm
sir.
surprised you didn't
Yes.
say She-Hulk.
Ahoy.
Like that. I thought that one would.
It was so bad we forgot about it.
Argyle
Yeah.
was garbage.
She-Hulk had one good scene in it, and it was when Hulk punched her off the cliff. I laughed so hard at that, and that's probably the only time I ever laughed.
No, there was
You
one
got
other
it.
thing in that show that made me laugh. When she looked at the camera and said, "Yeah, we're going to have Wong on this week. You all love Wong. That gives us Twitter armor for about 1 week." I thought that was funny.
Was that season 2 or?
No, they're going to do a season 2.
I don't know. I think
No,
I
it was
saw like
canceled.
one episode, maybe 2, and that was it. I couldn't. It was
Listen,
hard to watch.
You know we're fucked when we're questioning whether or not She-Hulk is literally going to be considered getting a season 2. Yeah.
Richard, do you have a link to that campaign, or is it live yet?
From what I know, I'd say She-Hulk is the worst because that one doesn't even have a finale.
I know that one was pretty bad because I actually watched the whole thing.
I refuse to spend money on stuff.
I actually had to pause the episodes halfway through and go do something else because I couldn't sit and watch the whole thing through. That's how fidgety I was.
I just think it's really sad that they didn't make her accurate to the comics because she sounds like a great character.
She is. She-Hulk is freaking awesome.
Character.
Jennifer Walters. She's a blast. She's actually very likable. She's a complete opposite personality of what they put in that show.
Yeah, Garrett, keep in
And
mind.
she would have been a
if she was
great
written-
intro to the Fantastic Four. If
If
they
she was
had
written-
written her the way
Exactly.
she was.
Yeah, because you remember that episode. Even Squirrel Girl was in that episode of Fantastic Four, where they're trying
Well,
out.
not
for
only
the-
that, but sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, not only that, but if you read the original Fantastic Four comics, She-Hulk was in quite a few of the editions as a side character. So she was there. She would have been a perfect intro to Doctor Doom and the Fantastic Four and helped balance out the universe, but they trashed her.
Well, instead she banged Daredevil, and he done the walk of shame.
I
In
was really struck.
I've never even heard of the Walk of Shame until everybody started talking about that episode. I'm like, what? And then I went and saw the episode, and he's walking along all happy, carrying his shoes. Says good morning. I'm like, why is that called the walk of shame? He looks happy. And why is he carrying his shoes? I don't understand. I didn't know
usually not
any of that was
associated
supposed
with
to
men.
be.
It's usually not associated with men. You know.
I didn't understand any of it. I'd never heard of that before. It was a whole new thing to me.
Well, that's what they were doing. They were saying like, "Oh, this is usually associated with like college girls, like walking home the day after or something like that." And they were like, "Let's put that on a man." And it's like, okay, but men don't experience it that way. They just don't. Okay, but like,
yeah, he was walking with a spring in his step. I didn't see any shame coming off of him.
Right, but it's just a saying.
Yeah. So I was watching Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, and I arrived at a conclusion. I'm like, Terry Hatcher is the best on-screen Lois Lane of all time. Like, she's fantastic. She's so good at that show. She's perky, she's upbeat, she's crazy, she's insane. Like, she'll just do anything for a story.
She's a reporter.
But, she is
this the
she's got a
cartoon
crush
or
on
live
Superman. It's great.
The cartoon.
Now, did you like Howie Mandel as Mr. Mitchell Pitalik?
I haven't gotten that far. I love the Lex Luthor in that show, though. The Lex Luthor in that show is fantastic. He's got this kind of this suave, sophisticated. He's kind of like the elusive man in Mass Effect. It's kind of what I like about him. He's like the elusive man. He's refined. He's a businessman. He's sophisticated. He's a tactician.
Michael Sheen.
I forgot. Like, I was asked on this very stream some time ago. Someone asked, "Who is your favorite fictional villain of all time?" And I gave the wrong answer because I couldn't think of it. But that's my answer: the Elusive Man. He's my favorite fictional villain of all time. Yeah.
What? It's not Starscream?
I'm not a Transformers guy. I missed the boat on that. I was into He-Man, Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles. I missed the boat on Transformers somehow.
Did you watch just the real Ghostbusters, or did you watch the real Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters?
Just the real Ghostbusters. Ray, Winston, Egon.
Yep.
That was
there was another Ghostbusters. They had a time traveling car and a gorilla named Tracy that was part of the team.
Yeah, I would have never touched that.
Yeah, well, apparently that was the original.
It was
right holder of the term Ghostbusters. That's why the one we're familiar with had to go by the real Ghostbusters. I used to watch both of them, and I thought it would be so cool if the writers got together and talked to each other. And obviously, it never happened, but that would have been cool.
Listen, the coolest crossover is the Xenobites and like the Ghostbusters like kid show.
Yeah,
I missed that. Were they in there really?
Yes.
Yep.
They were in the real Ghostbusters.
Hellraiser.
Those...
It was in. It was like a 90s or early 2000s like animated Ghostbuster show.
Huh.
I've never quite had the courage to watch Hellraiser. I was like, I don't think I could do it. I don't like gore. I don't like torture porn. I really hate. That's like my thing. Like, I don't like horror, like Eli Roth stuff. I don't usually like.
Yeah, like Saw. I never bothered to watch because
I
that's
watched
just
the first Saw film, but I never got past that one.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it because my friends all want to see it, and I'm like, they're actually enjoying. No.
really like ghost stories though. Like the Conjuring universe is fantastic. I love the Conjuring stuff. It scares the ever-loving hell out of me. I watch it in the dark. That's how crazy I am. I watched those movies in the dark, and there was a couple of weeks every sound in the night would wake me up. I'd be like, "What was that?"
Yeah, the only movie that ever really, I don't know if it's as much really horror, but Human Centipede, that one stuck in my head in a bad way. It's like I regretted watching that. That gave me freaking nightmares.
I've only seen the South Park version of it. Which is, do you want me to eat the asparagus or the cuttlefish? No, not the cuttlefish.
It still won't read.
I forget. It was cuttlefish and something else. Like, you want me to eat the cuttle? No, not the cuttlefish.
AC, do you have a link you want me to put in the chat? If so, drop it in my DMs on Gilded, and I'll put it in the chat. I don't know if he's ready to present the link on that yet or not.
Well, it's time to start wrap up. Frederick.
Yes. So imakecomics.com is the website. It's now live with samples and a progress page where you can follow where I'm at with the making of Rattel. Rattel is a superhero comic book coming to you sometime this year.
That might be part of it right there.
It takes place in Montreal, whereas the Poutine on the Ritz franchise here. And our character gets out of prison here, and the story is about to start and get interesting.
Love it.
It's looking good.
Maji.
Ram!
Hey,
Ram! Yay! I didn't give you a heart attack! I'm
That
sorry,
was Tim
Ram.
Allen,
Missed
and
you.
we still haven't heard
Oh.
from him.
I might have killed
you're the
somebody
prime
on
suspect.
accident.
Well, don't say that on the internet. That's the
Well,
last
she already
place.
made it that she was helping him with his cock, you know, and he gave her.
I tried to say Colt gun, but I kept saying cock gun, not realizing I was pronouncing it wrong. I was trying to Colt the
Right, yeah.
It didn't go well.
Show something, Maji.
I don't really have much to shill. Still
Your favorite
working
band
on
of caulk at Home Depot.
apparently. I'm still working on the book. We're about halfway through the second phase, so alpha's completely done. Right now we're in the editorial, and then I got
Sweet.
a revision and then beta, but it's still coming. That's as you can tell by my title. I'm working on it, so haven't given up yet.
All right. It's coming. Don't worry. I've read part of it. It's been more revised now, and there's a lot more there that I haven't seen, and I'm looking forward to it. And then I'm going to start putting your characters in matchups.
That'd be cool.
All right, Garrett.
Ahoy! Well, yes, I go by Captain Garrett on the channel Swords and Starships. So check out Swords and Starships because tomorrow I'm going to be dropping my fully edited Acolyte review. And I also... Yeah, so I'm excited. This is going to be a great video, and I'm going to review every single episode. I'm also going to be reviewing Hot D. That would be House of the Dragon to the layman. And I might be reviewing The Boys, but definitely House of the Dragon and the Acolyte. And so while you're on my channel, you'll probably hear about my book, Blood and Oak, and there will be future books to come. So I'm working on a science fiction novel, so...
Sweet. Yeah,
We gotta build back. We need a replacement for Star Trek and Star Wars, so I'm working on it.
All right. And don't forget to check out his shows on Sundays afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern. The Captain's Cast on Swords and Starship. He puts on a really good show. Every Sunday we go hang out there in the chat while he goes over everything that happened in pop culture over the last week, and it's a good time.
You're too kind, sir.
I have fun over there. So.
Raven! Yesterday didn't work out, but
sometimes the internet just not going to let it happen. Is what it is, you know?
Yeah. Well, this weekend I finished Herman's newest book, and that was great. I think I finished it in 2 days.
The Revenant?
Yes. Revenant and the Cult. And that was kind of the little break that I needed from writing stuff. But I'm almost done working on this latest short story bit that I've been working on. So that should be up before the end of the week. And that's the one that Maji-chan helped me with the title on. Thank you.
Got some of the Maji magic in your writing there.
I wouldn't call it magic. I keep screwing up, and poor Garrett's probably never going to be on stream with me again after today.
What? Please. Charmed, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're all used to talking about hardware accessories.
I'm going to need beta readers, so I have to suck up to all of you. So.
Billy Bob Sack.
You can find me on Only Gremlins on Substack.com. Also, tomorrow on Frederick's channel, we'll be doing the art stream.
Yes,
Then
thank you. I forgot to mention.
What time is that at?
7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah.
And then
8 Eastern, yeah.
Yep, and then not this Saturday, the Saturday coming up, the 15th, we'll be doing Art Chill number 3 stream as well. In which you get to see me, Otter, who are not artists, drawing a cowboy cat.
I'll tell you something, Billy Bob. Otter's going to need to put more than 2 hours to get to your level of detail on the cat.
And then we got Ting Kage, who's going to be showing up on that one. So that's about it. And at some point, Berserk on Otter's channel.
Yeah, so tomorrow's a little bit of a busy live stream day because we're going to have Terran Tuesday. I think James Spurs is doing Terran Tuesday tomorrow with Black Knight and RH Snow. And
Yeah, I think he starts at like 4.
I think 6 p.m. Eastern. So, like, right around the time they're finishing up, you guys will be starting. There'll probably be a little bit of overlap. So, you'll probably see me jumping back and forth between both chats like a moron.
What's the
Awesome.
Substack name, Billy Bob?
Only Gremlins.
What is it? Gremlins?
Only
something?
Gremlins.
Only Gremlins. Okay, I couldn't hear the first part.
Because the avatar he used to have up there all the time was the chick Gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Oh, wait,
I hope they never get a hold of that movie and remake it.
Right?
You know what? I'd love for them to offer him a shit ton of money to make Gremlins 3, and it'd just be Gremlins 2, but better. Because that's how Gremlins 2 was. They just really wanted him to make a sequel, and he went, I don't want to, really. They're like, all right, I'll give you a lot of money and as much creative freedom as you want. He went, okay.
So what, he just went as bombastic as he could, and he's like, you guys letting me do this? Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome. And anyway, I got a little shilling to do. Obviously, you're here on my channel. You know it exists. Well, on this channel, if you haven't seen it, I have full spoiler coverage videos of indie comics. I got 3 up there so far. I also have an Iron Age Characters versus the Venom video up there. It's going to be a few more weeks. I got a 4-part full spoiler coverage coming. So that's going to be a few more weeks before the first one goes up. It's going to be a 2-issue series. I'll do 2 videos covering the first issue, and then 2 covering the second. But until then, I'm going to steal that line from Herman again. Buy my books. Got Haley Star, Bad Kitty, and Bad Kitty Haley's World. Magic-fueled sci-fi adventure. It's a grand old time. Check them out. You won't be sorry. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. And Ram, it's been a while. Good to see you popping in again, man. And everybody else, Evelyn, Raven, you're on the screen. I'm just going through the chat, reading people on screen now. Guilty. Evelyn, we got
Ace.
Myriasphere. Yeah, Myriasphere popped in earlier. And then some Fu Man Blue, Star Fury, and then I think a captain showed up in the chat at some point tonight too. So it's been a busy night. It's been a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this presentation, hit the like, and if you didn't, appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time, and God bless.
See ya.
Kapla. Why is my thing that quiet? There we go.
He boomered it. He boomered it.
That's right. A nice, classy, smooth boomer exit.
Where's the outro music?
Oh, it was playing. It's just
45 minutes.
there you go.
Yeah, you gotta pump that down to it. Add it down.
Bye, guys.
There we go. Outro music. And I'm going to smoothly end the stream.